love that countdown. What's going on, you guys? It's Nathan Daly. You know, I'm the law enforcement translator, you guys. Here to give you some insight. Nothing but insight, raw insight on all things law enforcement, you guys. And listen, lately we're diving into some Black empowerment conversations, you guys. It's February, but you know my thoughts. I believe these things should be going on year round. So listen, I decided to do a quick little live stream tonight because I want to talk about the video that I most recently released, the one that said Black Lives Matter. And this is the reason for that. Make sure. Oh yeah, we're in the dark tonight. We're in the dark tonight, you guys. This is gonna be a low-key video. It's gonna be low-key, real chill, you guys. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna do something different I haven't done yet. I'm gonna do something a little different. We're gonna review some of these comments and the video section on that particular video, Black Lives Matter. And you guys, listen, I'm doing a segment of a series of videos in reference to Black lies, the lies that people tell our community in order to get us divided, in order to have us act in a certain way. So I'm gonna have a couple guests come up over the first couple weeks in March, and we're gonna talk about some things. We're gonna talk about some marketing issues, some things that are done in our community specifically to divide us amongst each other, divide us amongst other groups in this country. And at the end of the day, just to manipulate us, you guys. Black lies matter. I'm gonna tell you why the lies matter, because lies are powerful, and they're even more powerful when you believe them. You know, I dropped that video as a discussion between me and another a guest, another subscriber on this channel. He's a great guy. We had a really good talk, you guys. A lot of people were a little thrown off from my position. You know, the statement that I made. You know, I'm gonna be honest, you guys. I'm a radical. I'm not the type of person that believes things are impossible. I'm not the type of person that's fearful. I'm not the type of person that believes we're not capable as a group. You know, I'm big on accountability. Just like how I hold police accountable, I also hold my own community accountable, you guys. And so I don't shy away, again, from difficult conversations or issues that some people might feel uncomfortable talking about. Listen, you know, lies taste good. You know, they're lies for a reason. A lot of people can't handle the truth, but that's okay. We're going to talk about it today, you guys. We're going to dive into some very interesting conversations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the comment section. We're going to go down the video. Well, I'm going to pull the video up. We're not going to play it. For those who haven't seen it, please go and check that video out, Black Lives Matter. What I'm going to do is go through the comment section, answer some comments. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to come up. Those who felt a little uneasy about my position on the Black community and what we need to do as a people. Listen, I think one of the biggest problems is I'm not in disagreement about how our community got where it got, right? How we got here. I'm not in disagreement. You guys, I know the history. You know, contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, you know, I believe that in the chat last time when the video was released, it was half and half. Some people were under the impression that I didn't know what I was talking about. Some people are under the impression that I didn't understand the history or that I don't understand how the system works. You guys, I'm very well read. I understand how the system works. I've worked in the system. I probably know a little bit more than you. You know, the problem I have is that some of you guys are talking as if, you know, you have access to the Emerald Tablet, right? Or the Dead Sea Scrolls or something like that. You know, the reality is this country is about competition. We have to compete. You have to compete properly if you want the results. The reason why I'm talking about this and having this discussion, because again, though I'm here originally talking about law enforcement issues, you guys, the issue that affects the Black community affects everything. Everything. This whole thing, there's a correlation with everything in reference to this country, in reference to the Black problem, right? Black issues. They're all tied together. So when we have these conversations, people say, hey, how do we fix the police problem? We have to fix the Black problem, the Black issues in our community, the lack of unity in our community in order to fix all these other issues. It's a multi-layered situation. So we can't not have the conversation about how we come together and how we bring about change. You guys, listen, it's set up. It's unfair, right? The system's unfair. What are you going to do about it? We can't keep complaining, right? We either complain or we compete. And I'm really disappointed in a lot of the responses that I got because I heard a bunch of complaining. You guys, what are you going to do? You weren't here. A lot of you weren't even born in the 1800s or the early 1900s. A lot of you guys weren't even here. And what I'm hearing and what I've been reading a lot lately over the last couple of days, you guys, I'm a little disappointed. Every time someone brings up a solution, it's met with some type of a complaint or a reason why it can't be done. You know, you guys are talking about incidents that happen. Listen, I'm well aware, we're all well aware of this history of this country and what was purposely and intentionally done to keep Black people down. You guys, we're all aware that what I'm saying and what I'm suggesting is the more we harbor, the more we marinate in the history or in the past, you guys are ignoring the present. You're ignoring the future. How do we move forward? What do we talk about solutions? Every time someone brings up a solution, I constantly hear why we can't do it because of this happened 50 years ago, 100 years ago. This happened 400 years ago. You guys, if that's the attitude, if that's the hour, listen, my mindset is surrounding the empowerment of Black people, Black empowerment. This isn't Black cowardness, right? This is not where we are. This is not what we do on this channel. And you guys, again, this is facts over feelings. Get your feelings out of these conversations. And what I saw the other day when this video posted was a lot of people who were making emotional arguments. Oh, do you know what? You don't know what the Black people have been through. Sir, you didn't go through anything. Some of you don't have the same mental, physical, spiritual fortitude of those of your ancestors. In my personal opinion. But we're going to go over some of this. Let's see who's in the chat. And we got 125. We got 125 comments to go through from the video. We got 26 people in the chat. Let's go through here. Let's go through here. Let's say what's up to everybody. Yeah. Conversation's overdue. I'm going to bring you up in a minute, brother. Let me run through some of these comments. You guys see the background's a little dark right now. It's a little mellow because this isn't even about me right now. We're going to be having a nice little discussion. Shout out to my man, Uncle Stu. I appreciate that, Uncle Stu. Listen, you guys, me and Uncle Stu are in agreement. Our mindsets are aligned. What are we talking about? How can we push the conversation to solutions? Someone brings you solutions and you want to complain about how we got here, you guys. Nobody cares. We're here. The reality is we are here. Was there an issue with police when we were united? There's always going to be issues. You guys, there's always going to be issues. So that's my point. Listen, this isn't an abracadabra. Welcome to utopia. Listen, pick your poison. There's plenty of continents you can go to, you guys. There's plenty of other countries you can go to. Again, what did the brother say? Was there an issue with police when we're united? This is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Right? We're leaning. And no offense to you, brother. No offense to you, but this is an example. I think it's a perfect example. Here we are here to talk about solutions. And again, someone diving into the past of the problems. That's like someone saying, hey, we need to rebuild, we need to practice group economics. We need to rebuild our communities. And then here comes somebody brings a comment. Oh, we tried that already. Black Wall Street, they burned it down. You guys sound like cowards. If you're going to be defeated, then say you're defeated and then keep your mouth shut. Don't have the conversation. I don't want cowards over here. If you lack the imagination or you're too afraid because of something you read in the book, what would it look like if a slave said every time they got beat, they got discouraged and decided not to try to run away, right? Could you imagine that mentality to have? It's a mentality of weakness, you guys. Oh, were the police not a problem when we're united? The police are always going to be a problem, you guys. Welcome to America. And the police problem is not just a Black problem, you guys. Grow up, right? Grow up. Black people, we don't hold the monopoly on tragedy. We don't hold the monopoly on suffering. You guys, come on, we got to change our mindset. I'm asking you and I'm challenging you to change your mindset. If the system's unfair, would you also agree with that it's unjust? Yeah, it's unjust because there's unjust people ruling it. You guys, come on. Come on. I don't know if people want, I don't think we understand what type of life this is. There is no utopian country in this world as we know it. What are we complaining about? What are we complaining about? Yeah, what about it? People are always going to get beat up. What's your point? What's your point? Corruption is going to be everlasting. Pierre, please jump on the cam. I want to hear what you have to say. Listen, I don't want any keyboard thugs tonight. No keyboard gangsters in this chat tonight. This is why I made this video. That's why we're going live, because there was a whole lot of talking in this video that I dropped. Nobody ever wants to come on the cam. I don't want any finger thugs in here. If you're not talking solutions, keep your mouth shut. If you can't add on to someone else's solutions, be quiet. Right? If you're pushing propaganda and fear mongering through the whole community. Talk about things that are going to uplift our community and get us encouraged and inspired to do something greater than what we're doing now. That's what I want to hear. Oh, they burned down Black Wall Street. What do we do? You build it again. You build it again, you guys. What are you talking about? As long as there's people with bad and wicked hearts in positions of power, you guys, there's always going to be unjust and unfair treatment. There's a solution to the police problem for the Black community. I try to speak on it. Jay's Kino says, sir, you're wrong. Well, come on the cam. Listen, moderators, drop the link. For anyone who's in a disagreement, please come up. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Educate me, please. Educate me. What did he say? No, we're just not putting up with the BS. All right. Let's not put up with it. What's your solution to the problem? Pierre, what's your solution? I'm curious. What's your solution to the problem? Let's talk solutions. I'm competing, taking advantage of every opportunity presented to me. I choose not to take drugs. I choose to get a free education. Choose not to have children out of wedlock. Amen. Everyone is responsible. If everyone did their part, everybody did their part, you guys, we would be great. We'd be good. Accountability. She's absolutely right. Do your part. Shout out to Courtney Michelle. You're getting out of line, brother. Then line up, New Growth. Come on, New Growth. Let me hear your thoughts. Now, you guys, New Growth he's as pro-Black as it gets. He's as pro-Black as it gets. He always calling me out, though. He's always calling me out. Shout out to the UK. Shout out to Jill, Miss Chocolate. Who else in here? The choice is yours. I've had some racist experience. However, I used to push me forward, not hold me back. You guys, you can't get rid of racist people. You can't get rid of evil people. You can't get rid of them. So again, all this complaining is not going to do us any justice. I'm asking you to bring me some solutions. No one likes my solutions, then let me hear what you have to say. I heard a lot of complaining, a whole lot of complaining about the history. I'm telling you to talk about the present. I'm telling you to talk about the future. We want to dive back into the history, you guys. We can't change nothing. We can't change that. Unless one of y'all got a damn time machine that I don't know about. I'll be the first one to get in that car with you and ride and go back in time to fix some shit. You gotta love it. Even if I was an immigrant, what does it matter? The truth is the truth. Why does it matter where the truth comes from? Whose mouth is coming out of? Someone is telling we got to get ourselves together. We need to stop complaining and start making some action. You guys want to fix the law enforcement, the police problem in this country, but nobody wants to do the job, right? We don't want to do the job, but we want to complain about people doing the job. You guys, we are underrepresented in a lot of these professions in this country. Underrepresented, meaning we're not getting we're not getting that fair shake, that fair treatment. Pierre's here. He's ready. He's ready. My brother's ready. My brother, New Growth is ready. He's ready. All right, Pierre, I'm going to pull you up first. New Growth, I'm going to pull you up. And then we're going to go over some of these comments. You see my license, then that's a problem. Well, please, not me. Okay. Yes, brother Pierre. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right, man. What's up, man?
What's going on, big bro? What's up with you?
Just looking at some of your comments, man. I just feel like I feel like what you're saying is somewhat correct, but you're just missing part of the conversation.
All right, I respect that. Let's
so
agree on this.
Go ahead.
Are we on the same team?
What do you mean?
Are we aiming for the same goal?
Yes. I want Black people to excel. I want them to Black people. I want everybody to excel, but specifically Black people.
Correct.
Because we like across the world. You know, my parents are from Haiti. I was born and raised in the United States, but I'm of Haitian descent. Okay. So Black people across the world, I want the best for them. But specifically, when you talk about what has happened in this country, you can't just say that. Oh, what are the solutions? What are solutions without looking at the past, right? There's no, you can't make a plan and not consider what has happened in the past. So, for example, when I said you said earlier about the police problem, we can't. That's why I wrote the when we were united, there was a police problem, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we're united or separate. It doesn't matter if we're what's the professor that was a Harvard professor who got stopped by the police at his house during Obama's first and second term. It doesn't matter where our location is at or our elevation, our socioeconomic place. The police are still going to be a problem. So you can still want the liberation of Black people and still want Black people to progress financially, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, but understand that the other aspect is still there as well. So we can progress as much as we want to, but we still have these arrows coming in that are trying to take us down.
Yes. And I'm not in disagreement with you at all. I agree. And what I'm saying is what happened in the past and what's happening now. The question is, my issue with the past argument is you're absolutely right. In order to put plans in place, in order to build properly, we have to understand how we got to where we are. What I'm saying, Pierre, is people smarter than me, you, and everybody in this chat have already done that already. There's books written on it. People have had discussions. You got brothers like Minister Farrakhan, who's already talked about it. You got a lot of sharp brothers already. You had Malcolm talk about it, Martin talk. We already have the information. Right now, right, in our government, they're trying to put together a plan for reparations. House Bill something 22 something. I can't remember the exact name of it, the title of it. They are trying to say that they need to pass this bill to give them permission to actually basically review and investigate whether or not reparations is needed and how it should be implemented, right? People already have the answer, right? People, we already have the answers. The problem now is at what point, what stage do we start implementing these things that people have already understood and dissected? We have, again, to your point, that's the reason why I don't hover on it, because we're already all in agreement that the past was bad, that what white people did to oppress black people was unacceptable. Okay, now the question is, again, some of our greatest leaders in the 60s have already mapped this whole thing out. They gave us plenty of solutions already. My question is, when do we start implementing that on a grand scale?
But we've been implementing. These things have always happened, right? And essentially is this. I had a conversation with one of my coworkers last week. So I'm military, 11 years in the United States Army.
What's up?
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you for support, man. He did around 20 something years. He's a black conservative. And we had a discussion, and he essentially brought up the point that, man, I just forgot my point. But what you said something that I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember. But these things have been in place. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So he said, oh, like, what about black on black crime? We can't talk about the police. We can't talk about police. I'm just turning my
No, you good, brother. You good.
We can't talk about police reform if the black people are not in the communities doing the same amount of work. And I'm like, we've been doing that. Black people are in the communities every day. Like, currently, I'm a teacher. I used to be a social worker, right? I work with the homeless. So when my young black males or young black females, sorry for male and females, I won't get into that. It's just that's just how we talk with the military. But when the young black girls, young black boys, like they pop off or whatever, like, I try to pull them to the side and talk to them. There's countless black teachers, black social workers, black people in the community every day that are implementing these plans. These plans have been implemented. Now, what has happened routinely is that when they start at the grassroots level, other people come in and mess them up. They get taken over. They get persecuted. You brought up Malcolm X. You brought up Farrakhan, MLK. Look at our leaders. We've always had every plan that you're talking about. We've had, but they constantly are being undermined by the leadership, right?
Right.
So it's essentially what it boils down. What it sounds like to me, just to me, is that you want us to, on a grand scheme, have this big plan for all black people, right? Let's say just the United States, all black people in the United States. Let me not even say me, because I'm first generation American. Let's talk about foundational black people, right? Okay. Foundational black Americans. Do you want to have a grand scheme that they can do, that we can come together and do as one? But all those, that sounds good in theory, but in practice, when you have different people from different states, different cities, different localities, urban versus rural, it's not going to work like that. So it's just I feel like us as black people, just in general, are doing well. We're progressing in spite of all the other things that have come that's been trying to pull us down. So it just sounds like I said at the beginning, it just sounds like you have a plan and we agree on certain things, but it's just like I feel like we have to look at the past to move forward. And it's like what it sounds like, you're just like, from 1965, chop it over here. We're gonna move forward from there. That's where the beef was. And I think I had commented on your video that you posted a while back. I think this is the response video. So I think you had said something. You actually had responded to me, but that's what it just comes off as like we're supposed to just chop off this at whatever year. Let's say I was born in 1984. In 1984, that's when history begins for black people, and that's you just can't work like that.
No,
that's bad. Oh, I'm sorry. That's essentially what a lot of white or conservatives in general are trying to say about history. While they're upset, while they're pulling out these statues of slave owners, or when we talk about how laws have affected people in general, we don't even have to talk about black, poor people, how laws disproportionately affect poor people. It's like, no, we don't want to talk about that. Let's just start right here because everything is equal right here, and that's not the case.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying we need a plan of action. I'm saying we've already had these discussions already. And I know that I'm not trying to cut it off. I'm saying we need to start. We need to have a very strategic plan of action, meaning that we need to start the biggest issue in our community is our lack of education when it comes to financing. Our inability to work together as a unit. We absolutely cannot survive in this country not unified. What I'm saying is, I don't care about the history piece. It means nothing if we cannot figure out a way to come together collectively. Because again, we can't affect any change as individuals. Individually, we're doing good. but collectively is where the power is. So it's easy for individuals like myself. I'm middle class. You have a lot of brothers and sisters that are middle class, upper middle class, right? And a few that are on top. They're doing good. Respectfully divided, we're doing good. But when we talk about power, when we talk about political power, when we talk about economic power, those things have to be done together. Our homes are broken, right? There's a division amongst the genders in our community. We have an out of wedlock problem in our community, right? That increases the poverty. This is decreasing our wealth, right? What did they say? This is documented, it's well documented. Over half of our children born are born in single family homes. Over half of those families are in poverty, living below the poverty line. It is better for us as a community if we are together and we are struggling to do the things that we have control over. I'm not talking about controlling them or they or the elites. I'm talking about what can we do? What we can do has nothing to do with history as much as it has to do with choices.
Okay, so choices. When you say choices, what do you mean? Like choices for the individual? Because before you were just talking about saying we need to be unified, but then you said we have choices as individuals, or
I'm gonna pull up the whole panel because everybody's itching. New Growth, I see you, brother. I'm about to pull you. New Growth is on your side. New Growth is gonna try to drag me. But that's my brother. That's my brother in arms. He's gonna try.
New Growth trying to drag you.
I know, brother. Ain't nothing but love, brother. Uncle Stu, bring you up. I'm bringing up the whole panel. We're gonna have a discussion real quick. And before, because Pierre, you went New Growth. I'm gonna let you go ahead and start off next. Uncle Stu, Simon, and then Dre, real quick. Thank you so much, Gail. She's moderating and still hooking us up in the back. What did Gail say? I hate how some of us sound and act so weak and docile, as if we can't do anything because slavery and the white man won't buy or bank black. Now this is hey, this is the thing. This is the thing, right? I agree with Gail. Again, the reason why I say that is because some of the language that comes out of our people's mouths sometimes when we start talking about solutions, it always goes back to, hey, but we got here because of this, or because a white person did this, or because, and I say, yeah, we all agree that we're all in agreement about how we got here. I'm saying now, you guys, we've already talked about all that. And again, now we need to construct a plan and a strategy, no longer how long it takes, but something that's collective. What can we do? Now, granted, I'm not saying we got to try to drag everybody who don't want to be dragged. I'm saying let those who are leaders get together and put together something solid, grassroots or what have you, and start making some moves. Because a lot of the things I hear, again, I've worked our community for 13 years, you guys, and every time I hear, it's always complaints and it's never solutions. And so that's where my mindset starts to shift and say, you guys, can we get together and talk about, let's talk about what we can do and what we cannot do. We cannot change the past. We cannot control another group of people. We can only control us. We can only do for us. We can't control white people. Newsflash, right? New Growth. What you got for me, brother? Welcome to the channel.
What's up, bro? I ain't gonna be here too long, but I hear what you're saying, but a lot of that stuff is rhetoric, is talking points of certain people. Like, we would never tell Donald Trump to forget the past. He galvanized the whole country to win an election on Make America Great Again. That's the past, right? So he didn't forget the past. That's what made people follow him. It was the past. When we speak about our past, it may be because we never conquered it, right? So certain things that you may not understand, you said we haven't been there, but guess what? Our grandmama's been there. Their grandmama's been there. We all come from the diaspora, right? So we know how generationally things are passed down through generations. We talking in America where white people have generational wealth from hundreds of years ago, still from slavery, right? No, am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
So that's what I'm saying. So you don't tell them to forget their past. We praise them for the evilness that they done. We can't forget their past unless they can forget their past. And them forgetting their past is gonna mean giving up all that money that they got off our backs. So those are things that
who got that baby dying in the background?
Yeah, yeah.
That baby in the background saying, "Preach, brother."
That's my niece. That's my niece. That's my niece. My bad.
That baby caught the Holy Spirit back there.
Yeah, she said, "Preach, brother."
Oh
Preach,
man,
brother.
my bad. That's my niece.
And I hear your like one of your solutions is more policing in the black community, right?
Yes.
But didn't you say that what's the percentage of blacks in America?
13%.
Okay, you said 12% of the police force is black, right?
Correct.
So we're properly represented. So
Pause real quick on that, New Growth. The issue is that a lot of our best and our brightest officers are not working in our communities. You know, they're not working for our communities. And so again, we would have to really, you know, black people, the majority of us in these major cities, we would have to pool our resources, right? Give incentives to get more African-American men and women the motivation to do the job. The issue isn't so much, I agree with you that we're pretty good on the numbers, but we need more, right? We're going to need a little bit more because.
See, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
But you know, it's a vetting process, right?
Yes.
To become a police officer, you just can't go in there and say, "Hey, I'm a police officer." They study
that's the
your
problem.
mind,
That's the problem.
brain.
It's too easy. That's the issue right there. It's too easy to be an officer.
But not necessarily, because if somebody have to say, for me, for instance, my mentality, the paperwork, they say, well, if in a situation like this, boom, 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 I'm speaking from a pro-black male. I'm not going to become a police officer. They're not going to let everybody into the situation. So we know that. I mean, brother to brother, you know that, hey, some guys will never become police officers, period. I don't care how great they are. Malcolm X or let's say a Stokely Carmichael would have never got the badge. They would have never said, "Come on and join the force." Even though he was qualified, even though he wanted to protect his community, he went against what? The structure.
Can I say something real quick on that point?
Go ahead.
Okay, so being in the military, you know, I served both active duty and National Guard, and one of the things that I tended to notice was that a lot of the leadership would trying to see how to say it politically correct. A lot of the leadership would mess over the black soldiers, right? So we like me, you know, I'm very verbal. I'm gonna say what's on my mind. I don't care. I'd rather get in trouble. But I did it with the understanding that, okay, I want to get promoted. There's a good chance I wouldn't get promoted. There's a good chance I would get in trouble. Like all this other, there's a lot of stuff that they're missing out. Luckily, I already had my active duty time, so they couldn't really mess with me. But it's kind of like we have these black officers that go in, and this is literally their livelihood. They would have to put their whole livelihood on the line. And I'm not giving no excuses, because to me, it's like, you did it. You got to speak up for us no matter what position you in. But I also understand like he said, every black person can't be an officer.
This is true.
And then when you get in, it's like, okay, well, this can literally mess you up your livelihood by even thinking about talking back. So
I'm Uncle Stu, I'm gonna let you get in, and I'm gonna respond to that, Pierre. Before you go, Uncle Stu, I want to touch on something real quick. Let's see. Someone said some earlier. Hey, real quick on the panels. Anybody on this panel ever felt oppressed by the government or by white people in general? Raise your hand if you've ever felt oppressed or been oppressed. Anybody?
Yes, I have.
I know you were gonna raise New Group. Okay, so and then you. I know. So is it Simon? Right, Simon. You've been oppressed before? Have you been oppressed? Y'all. My man's in the whole military and everything. 11 years strong. Okay, so let me, Uncle Stu.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in.
Go ahead, Uncle Stu.
Different locations. All right. First of all, Pierre, you speaking to a retired United States Army soldier. We got to speak stronger than that. You've been around the world. Oppression in other countries is nothing compared to here. That's why Russia is taking over a country now. And what I mean by that is this. If you want freedom, you got to fight for freedom. Yes, let's not forget the past, but it's time that we fight for it now instead of crying about it. Now, we make the decision what platforms we want to go to, whether we want to take in junk or take in foolishness. We make the choice each and every single day how we're going to respect each other. We make that choice. You tell me the white man that comes in your house or comes in any black man's house and says, call that woman over there a BI. You tell me who is putting a gun in your head and telling you to rob your brother that look like you. You tell me what white man is coming in your community and throwing trash over there. Ooh. Do I understand we have problems? Yes. But guess what? We are supposed to be the kings and the leaders and the fighters and the warriors and to take back what was taken from us. Why are we standing here sounding weak, talking about men of the past? You have black men that rose up during slavery and was willing to die for their freedom. We won't even rise up to fight for our freedom. Bruh, I am right now standing on a platform and I'm busting my behind every single day to bring the information so that we can be free. What does freedom look like? Right now, we have international communication we never had before. Never had it in my time. In 1985, we ain't never had so many black millionaires. So what is the collective? Maybe we have to do this on an economic situation. What do I mean? Maybe certain billionaires have to teach the millionaires how to become billionaires. And the millionaires going to have to teach the upper middle class how to become millionaires. And then maybe the millionaires got to teach the middle class how to become that section. We may have to do this on a sociological basis. We need to stop fighting to try to get everybody into one group. If ADOS got a plan, let ADOS be. ADOS don't fight those that believe in capitalism. And if those that say capitalism want to be the B1s, you be the B1s. You fight because this takes a war. Why? Because what do you have in the military? You got the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, the Marines, and each one of us and the Coast Guard, each 5 sections take care of a particular area when it comes to the total protection of this nation. Therefore, as a collective, we have to find out what branch of the service do you want to be in and begin to fight. We'll all fight for that collective. So guess what? If Officer Daly is going to fight in the police department, you go for it, bro. You just tell me, and I'm going to get with my capitalist brothers, and you tell us what you need, and we'll support you. If you got a program that's going to teach black kids to read, don't worry. Give me a call. My brothers will financially support you. So we all got to be fighting our fight in the directions that we are. Yes, I agree with Pierre. Let's not forget about the past. The Jews didn't forget about the past. The Indians didn't forget about the past. The Japanese didn't forget about the past. But what did they do? They still remained fighting for what they needed and built what they had to build. Then they was able to get what they needed to get. We have to remember, we got to fight. Nobody becomes free by begging their slave master, can you please free me? No, we fought for that. You just give us money by saying, can you please give me some reparations? No,
brother, they gave it to the Jews. They gave it to the Chinese.
Let me tell you what the Jews, let me tell you how that went.
They gave it to the Irish. They gave it to the Italians.
They didn't give it. Let me explain how that went, sir. They built a country called Ireland. They built a country called the nation. They built a country.
Say that again.
They built a country. They didn't do it as individuals. They built a country. We're going to have to fight and take back part of this country.
I'm sorry, who built the country? The Jews?
They gave it to the Jews while they were still in despair. They gave it to the Jews as soon as they built a nation. When are we going to build a nation?
What nation did the Jews build, brother?
That
what?
Was
what nation did the Jews build, brother?
The Allied forces built Israel, that nation,
and Israel
they stole a nation. Israel was stolen. That's facts. So let's not give false narratives about other groups as if they did something that we haven't done. Nobody on this planet has done what we done as foundational Black Americans. Nobody.
Back to slavery, or we gonna fight and stay free?
No. You were giving.
What I'm saying is, you didn't hear nothing I said.
Let me tell you,
you didn't hear what I said, because I said let ADOS be ADOS. You know what I see on these YouTube streets? Let me tell you what I see. I see ADOS arguing with the pro-blacks. I see the pro-blacks arguing with the manosphere. I see this group arguing with that group, and none of these groups is arguing with the white group. We up here arguing with each other. And what I am saying is let ADOS be ADOS. ADOS, you fight, you do what you got to do congressionally. For my black brothers who's playing the pro-black game, you do what you got to do. For those that are capitalists, you do what you got to do. See, this is what I mean. And the first thing we say is, well, if you ain't down with ADOS, you ain't black. If you ain't this, we fighting each other. And what
isn't that what Democrats and Republicans say?
Hold that thought 1 second.
Aren't they fighting with each other?
We gotta. Let me get Uncle Stu over here burning up the channel, Uncle Stu.
He preaching, boy. I'm listening. You got that passion. I love it.
Hey, that's Uncle Stu, boy. Hey, I almost got him started dancing, man.
We're gonna take that energy and fuel this movement. That's what we're gonna do. Uncle Stu gonna be on the front lines. Simon, let me get your thoughts real quick, and then we're gonna come back.
I'm jumping off. I'm gonna be hearing. Yeah, I'm doing a Gale number. I got to moderate on like 2 different platforms.
All right, that's what's up.
Don't worry, Drake coming to my platform tomorrow because I got Courtney Michelle coming. So I know Drake gonna be there. He ready to fight for me on my platform. I know he is. That's that New York spirit, Drake.
Yo, no doubt. What time is it? What time is the live stream?
7 p.m.
I got you.
Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, I got you. I'm in Atlanta. Right. Come on, bro. I got you.
All right,
I appreciate you, brother.
Okay, now.
All right. Simon, let me get your thoughts, and then Dre, I'm gonna get you up on.
Okay.
Simon, you mute. Hold on.
Let me check that.
There you go.
Right. Okay, cool. One love. To the panel.
What's going on, brother? Welcome.
What's going on? Yeah. Just need to turn it down a bit. Uncle Stu went off, bro. Just went off. Ah, shit. Are black people oppressed? Are we oppressed? Yeah.
Okay.
To a point. Not necessarily in comparison to like if we take it like 20 years back, right? So what's going on is we tend to do this thing where we're sort of taking a juxtaposition and going, okay, we're trying to compare ourselves to our leaders that were previously brought up. Right. So we always compare ourselves to like the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, the people that have been put on a pedestal, but we have nothing right now. I can't bring up a black leader right now, and I urge any member of the panel right now to turn around and tell me who the black leader is right now. Who's coming out here? Who's actually sort of doing something? Who's representing us?
Do you know that Martin Luther King and Malcolm, these guys were chastised in their time as well? So a lot of people, a lot of sections of the community didn't see them as leaders. Do you know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dick Gregory, all these guys was leaders. You got a LeBron James, you got things like that. So that's why I'm saying, getting back to the point, history is so important. And so many people think they know it, but they don't know it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that we, the only person that you actually brought up in the words that you spoke was LeBron James.
So you want me to bring up?
What's wrong?
Is LeBron James your leader?
But hold on, you can't say that. You can't say nobody. Hold on. You can't go. He said one black leader. out of all the black leaders out right now. He said one, but you can't pick and choose what makes a black leader, because he also mentioned Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and who was the football Dick Gregory, Jim Brown. So you got a football player, a basketball player, a comedian, and then you have Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte, who are actors across. So this is across entertainment. You can't just say, "Oh, LeBron James, like, oh my God, like he's an athlete. What does he know?"
I didn't say what. That's
what it came off. Maybe my bad.
Yeah,
that's what it came off.
It might have came off. What I was saying was, you pointed out LeBron James prior to sort of like the fact that everyone else you spoke on are historical people.
But
pretty much in their casket, right? Who do we have in this day and age that we can point to as leaders?
If
you can stop buttoning for a second, like if the only person is LeBron James, who else is there?
Question.
You can't ask a question and don't allow us to answer it, and then say,
"No, I'm just asking."
You keep saying you ask the question.
It's
then you
quite defined.
So let me say this. Pause, you guys. Pause. Let me. How about this? How about we define what does a leader? What constitutes as a leader first before we start throwing celebrities? And not saying just because a person is a celebrity that they don't provide or offer any type of leadership qualities, because that's not accurate. Right. The thing is, we need to define what does it mean to be a leader, and is their leadership helping the Black community in any type of way, any specific way, or how are they contributing, right? So what, in your opinion, I'm gonna start, Simon, let me ask you, then I'm gonna go around the panel about what we think a leader is, Dre, and then my gentleman here that just the Seattle Black vet, we'll bring you up next. So Simon, what would you say are leadership characteristics? How would you define a good leader? What would make a good Black leader?
I think it's a unique perspective. It's a perspective where you can draw crowds and be knowledgeable about the whole spectrum, not just like a community from an angle of, what you're representing. You need to have a whole diaspora sort of understanding of what's going on in the world. Because even if you're representing your own community, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's this thing where there's a disconnection with the rest of the world. Any leader, and it usually boils down to politics, but any leader that sort of steps up to the stage and represents, you want to know that they actually know what they're doing. And they can represent you from every angle. So whether you're the kid on the block, or whether you're the kid, or whether you're the adult that's made that progression, in your life as a grown man or grown woman, and you've made your bag. You want to know that person actually understands what that means. So they need to have some sort of background. They need to have some sort of understanding of what that encapsulates and how it's going to benefit you ultimately, as a leader.
Dre, let me get your thoughts on that.
Okay. I've taken all that in. All right, first off, I'm gonna stay on task, and we're gonna talk about leaders.
And then I want you to jump on that previous conversation too.
I am. A leader is a person, whether it's male, female, child, or adult, who sees a need and has the ability to galvanize a group of like-minded folks with energy and inspiration, not worried about a problem, but have a solution and willing to implement that solution to make it better for others. A leader doesn't have to be a celebrity. It doesn't have to be a star. It could be any Joe Schmo who sees a problem and has the ability to articulate their plan to implement their solution that benefits all. The reason why celebrities are speaking up is because they have a platform. Everybody gathers around to watch them dunk a basketball, hit a home run, or score a touchdown, or throw a touchdown pass. Okay. The problem is, as a black community, because it's in the NFL and NBA, we have so many black people in these sports, we hold them up to a higher standard to speak on our behalf because they have this platform. Okay.
Which is a problem.
Right. We idolize them. We want to be them. Even the fact that the women are really, disrespecting themselves just to get a baby by them so they can be financially secure. There's a lot going on. Okay. Now, that's my thing about leadership. In reference to, as a black race, are we oppressed? No. Were we ever oppressed? Yes. Here's the issue. If you can't get at least 95% of one race to say that we're oppressed, we're not oppressed. You can't, because we're spread through many different financial backgrounds. Okay. And what you have to understand is you have a section of the black race that still lives vicariously through what happened 400 years ago. And the way I see it is, I made a lot of bad decisions growing up. You know what I'm saying? I was a hood, but there was never a white person next to me when I made, encouraging me to make these decisions. These are decisions I made on my own. So I never thought of a white man keeping me down. I never thought that way. Maybe because of how I was raised, the mentality that I was instilled in reference to, regardless of what you go through, you can overcome and you can, sustain. There's a lot of backup, but as a people, no. We have an oppressed mindset. The fact of the problem is accountability. A lot of our community has bought into the propaganda and bought into the fact that black women believe that they don't need black men. They're better than us. They don't need us. They can do everything without us. But yet they're always calling us to do man stuff. Okay, you have black men that disrespect our black women, don't hold the value or even see the value that they have to our community. And then you have those that understand our place in the community, that want to uplift us, educate us, and like, look, you bought into, you bought into the hype. You drunk the wrong Kool-Aid. Okay, you drunk the Kool-Aid with no sugar in it. All right. You ate the potato salad with the grapes in it. You know, that you did. In reference to the white race, what they did, there was a concerted effort to separate us. If you want to see where the white folks came in, they saw us as profit. They could make money off us. They made money off us
Exactly.
by dividing us. And who did they target? Believe it or not, they didn't target the black man. They targeted
Target the
black
woman.
women. Okay. Most of us will go to get a haircut for $30. Why does a woman have to pay $800 to get their hair done? Why do they have to pay $170 to get their feet and their nails done? Why? Because it's profit, and they know that they're gonna spend it because they want to look good. Okay, they sold them a bag of goods to what I'm saying, to have them believe that they don't need us. They tore up our community, and as black men, a lot of us feel that the social economic situation that we've been put in. Oh, I have to rob my own. I have to get mine for mine. I have to steal. No, we don't. No, we don't. Because it's funny how a lot of black men get sent to prison, come back and start their own business. Why do you have to go to prison to find out your true value and what
Mm,
you can contribute to the community? Why do you have to
mm,
do 15, 17 years in prison away from your family and away from your community to realize your worth? That's a
mm.
problem. That's a problem. We as a community, and it starts with home, okay? Women gotta stop thinking I'm better than this black man. I can do better. Nah, you with this man because he is your equal. Okay, stop thinking, that there's something better out there. And if you think it is, then don't lay down and have a child with this dude who you don't think you have a future with. Stop doing that. It's all choices, and that's what it is.
All
It's
of
the
it.
choices that we've made that we're not accountable because we're worried about how being judged and what people think of us.
And
And
real
you
quick,
can't. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Joe. Real quick, and then I'm gonna get Seattle Black Vet in. What Dre just said is I can't disagree with that, you guys, and I'm gonna tell you why. We can only blame white people for so much. There's always gonna be listen, the whole idea is to keep us at the bottom because this is where we're making the most money for everybody else. Again, last year we spent $1.6 trillion. We got the money, you guys. We got the money. We're not spending our money properly. We're not saving our money properly. Our homes are broken. Our children are all over the place. I've been in our homes left and right, and I can count on one hand how many times I've seen a black father present in those homes. We could blame the fathers, right? Or we could blame the mothers. Regardless, it's a mutual problem on men on both sides, and we have to get a hand of it. These are things that we can do on our own that does not require government assistance, doesn't require any policy, doesn't require reparations. These are things that we're talking about choices, we're talking about mentality, we're talking about education. These are the things that we have absolute control over, who as men, who we give our seed to, and as women, who you open your legs to. These are things we can control that. They said single mother rate, right? Poverty. These things there's a correlation between the two, right? Children out of wedlock, you increase poverty over 50 folds. You guys, we can stop a lot of these things if we make better choices. So the Seattle Black veteran, let me get your thoughts on leadership and your thoughts on the overall conversation. The Black epidemic. You're on mute.
1 second. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, hey, thank you. Hey, greetings to all my brothers, and thank you for your listening to you, brothers. It's very been insightful. I'm an old guy. I am 58 years old. That don't make me wise. They say God still does make old fools, right?
Right.
So let me ask you, gentlemen, how many of you guys ever played chess? The game chess. Okay, in a game of chess, how many moves ahead you should be above your opponent if you're going to succeed?
Ooh, I said
Not
4.
like 3.
All right.
If you're a genius, you're about 4 or 5.
Okay, so this is what we look for, and I appreciate your brother's input. This is what we look for. This is a game of chess.
Yes.
Who is running this whole game, and where we are? And we're doing good. But we can do better.
We're playing checkers.
So you said we playing chess. You said who's running the game?
Yeah, who's running the game?
Who is it?
Who's running the game?
No, hold on.
I'm asking you.
No,
Oh,
this
no,
is a game of chess. Hold on, this is a game of chess. So we're playing checkers. There's only a handful of us that's actually playing chess along with the game and maneuvering within and seeing the pieces ahead. Majority of us are playing checkers.
Yeah.
No. Majority of us is playing Connect Jam 4.
Let's not argue about who's playing what. Okay.
All right. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead, see.
This is what gets us put back. This is what puts us back. We're not arguing about that. We're asking, in the game there's rules. Who is making the rules? And the most look, the guy went to a media guy went to the Abu Dhabi. What was it? He got murdered, killed, slashed. Ain't nobody said nothing about that guy, right? We know in the United States, money can get you out of some issues, right? So who's doing what and why is it? So it's not our job to argue about who it is. I'll give you this one. It's a story that was told to me this. And I hope your brothers can stay with me and tell me if it's corny or whatever. A group of brothers was going on a bus to the Being Man March. The bus swerved off the road, crashed over and ditched. Everybody in the bus died. So they were all lined up in front of the pearly gates in front of St. Peter. St. Peter, a sign said, if you can ask me a question that I cannot answer, regardless of your sins or your iniquities, you can come into heaven without question. A doctor rolled up onto him, asked him about a spinal thing. Without a hesitation, he answered. He went straight to hell. And this went on. He asked the box boy a question. The box boy asked him a question. St. Peter leaned back, scratched his temple. He said, ask me that question again. He asked him. He just opened up the gates. He walked right into heaven. The dude was behind him was a Harvard graduate. He said, I know I'm going to waste my question. He said, but what did he ask you that you couldn't answer? St. Peter leaned over and whispered in his ears. He said, he asked me when you Negroes going to start sticking together. All right.
Well, can I ask you a question about your chess analogy?
Please, sir.
The game of chess, right? I'm not no genius on it. I've been playing a couple years, but it's when you play the game is equal, right? That's the way. It's nobody makes the rules. When you play the game, the rules are already set. We are equal on both sides.
The only reason I brought that up was this.
No, let me finish.
Oh, please, okay, continue.
Okay,
but I want you to fully understand why I brought it up.
Playing the game, right? And the first move, or let's say, unbeknownst to you, they don't give you your queen. Most of the time, when a guy loses his queen early in the game, he's already ready to quit, right? It's almost impossible to win. You can still win, but if somebody takes your queen early, right? It's pretty much
you
over,
understand
right?
exactly. You're exactly explaining exactly the philosophy of what I'm saying. You're ahead of the game. You're ahead of the person before they get to where you are.
No, but I'm giving you an example of how we as black people in America are moving. Our king was stolen early.
I'm not saying we're not moving.
See, right. Hold on, New Growth. Let him finish his scenario real quick before you chime in.
I'm not saying we're not moving. What I'm saying is, I said when I first came on this panel, I said, I appreciate all your brothers' inputs and everything, and it's positive. It's moving positive. The right thing is, if we knew or the real estate game before we found out on the YouTube or whatever, we'd be ahead. We have to know what the game is. We don't understand what the game is. I'm not saying that we are lacking anything. I'm saying, period, in my own cipher, I may be lacking some things that you have, that each and every what we come together and understand. We have to get ahead of the game because the game is on top of us, is what I'm trying to say. If we're moving right now, we are just now having this conversation, and which is beautiful that we're having it. If we were to have this back when in the 80s, when some of you probably weren't born, but I was born, it would be bomb. We'd be on point. I'm giving you props and credit for it. But what I'm saying is this: now that we have come to this plateau, let's snatch our collectives together and go, where's the next plateau we can get to? Because we're still behind the game, which is what I'm saying. They're going to Afghanistan right now. How many of you brothers have stock, ETF funds, real estate? There you go. In real estate, and see, and we're teaching and we're growing. So we're learning how to get that cipher, and we're getting on top of the game. And that is, we're understanding what the game is.
I respect that totally. Let me just make one comment.
Go ahead, brother.
Like you was talking about the ETFs and the stock real estate. Do you know the biggest wealth loss in Black American history?
Stock?
How?
No, the biggest Black wealth loss in American history.
No, I don't.
2008.
It was
2008.
It was what was it? 20. It was in
2008
when the housing market crashed.
Oh, 2008. Yeah.
Yes.
But
how did that happen though? It was predatory lending, right? And it was people who had 700, 800 great credit score Black people who were giving subpar loans, right? And the government came back and gave out billions and fined these banks billions for that, right? Right. So we have to understand, we can't sit here and say, hey, we just starting to learn about real estate now. We have been crushed. No, hold on. We've been crushed by the system, and the system is doing this like you Nathan was talking about Black Wall Street early. Okay, you said we got to get over that. We got over that. We had all these homes in 2008. They crushed us again. So you can't abuse. That's like having an abused woman. You can't tell an abused woman who's been beat over and over again, get it over. That's just in the past. It's going to need some healing. It's not just going to be
Can I say?
Hold on. Go ahead, Pierre. Hold on, Dre. Hold on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me hold on. We break Faulkner in real quick, and then Pierre.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
What's up?
Brother was holding out.
I'm holding out because I was listening to everything. Sometimes you gotta observe, and silence is much more golden. One, I don't have anything against the brother who left the panel, but the Jews never built a nation. They were given a nation by England and America. As a matter of fact, that was their reparations. See, historically, Black people were sent to the worst concentration camps and freed them from their Holocaust when their ancestors financed ours. That's historically factual. Two, people need to understand, one, military science, because things aren't overt like they were for your grandparents and great-grandparents. Things are covert. I don't give a damn who you are. If I see your Black ass a mile away and you coming into my financial institution, I can't say legally no Blacks need apply. I have to use something called a credit score. So there's many different ways to be prejudiced on many different strategies.
It's true.
So it's like this, just in case anybody who don't know my background, I spent 15 years as an officer in the Baltimore City. And I spent 10 years in the Army and did 18 months in Iraq, part of the QRF. So,
brother, for you to do Baltimore, man, God, that's
you're better than
crazy.
me.
That's not as bad as people think.
Man, I'm from Maryland.
It really isn't. Things. If you've been to a major metropolitan area, you've been to them all.
I got you.
And this is the problem. Like when I had, and by the way, you probably had to give me a wrench so I could post the Gray Faulkner Initiative. When Cerulean and Gray and myself came up with the Gray Faulkner Initiative to get more black boys into fire, police, military, and the STEM, a lot of people gawked at it. Why? Because black people are afraid of change. Okay, I did a live stream a couple of days ago talking about the biggest L's black men have to hold. And later this week, I'm going to do the biggest L's black women have to hold. One of them is teamwork. The other one is a fear of success. Okay? So when I look at it historically, a lot of people out there, majority of people are playing checkers.
Mm-hmm.
Some people play chess. Far few people play chess. The heads, the top, they're playing Risk. And if you really play Risk, guess what? I played it on my laptop on my iPad one time. It took me 24 hours.
You can't be a sucker.
That's moving of countries.
Yeah.
So
that's running countries right there.
So the problem with black people is that we pray for leaders while white people groom theirs.
Exactly.
And see, and then ultimately you got to look at the other flip side of the coin. Every time we try to galvanize a people or actually galvanize a people, we don't fuck it up. You got to remember. Black Wall Street, niggas didn't fuck it up. No, it was jealousy that fucked it up. Look at what happened. Look at what happened to the 80s. Before crack exploded, you still had an 80 percentile marriage rate, and it exploded. You went through the crack of the 80s, the 90s, the violence of the 90s, and then the predatory housing loans of the 2000s. And I'm from Baltimore, and we practically invented redlining.
Mass incarceration.
So when you look at it, there was no money to pass down. There was no equity built. Now that we can, and this is the reason why, because I'm a historian, you have to know the past to go to the future.
That's true.
You know, an ounce of preventive maintenance is more than a pound of cure.
TMCS.
Yes.
So hold on, Faulkner. Pierre, go ahead, and then Dre.
So Uncle Stu, I think the gentleman was that came off preaching. Okay, so he just sounded like a preacher to me. One of the things that he said, which I completely agree with, was you find your lane. We have our lanes for different people, right? So like I joined the Army. I think all three of us were in the Army. Some people joined the Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Space Force now. So
some of y'all belong in the Space Force.
Right.
Y'all be talking. Right up there in Pluto.
So everybody has their lane. So
I'm going to go get my Jedi lightsaber.
Right. But every branch has their lane, right? So the Army and Marine Corps are more like similar, but Army don't do Navy stuff. Navy don't do Air Force stuff. Air Force don't do Space Force stuff, right? But in the end, they all come together and they have the one plan. So I think that we do have different people that are focused on different things, right? So we have financial experts who are out here trying to teach people the finances. We have people who are trying to teach people the emotional health and mental health stuff, the fitness part. Like we have all those aspects. What I would say is that there needs to be a coming together, but it's never been a time when all aspects, even in the civil rights movement, it was different groups doing different things. They came together once in a while, but they all were doing their own thing. So like to say that we don't have like black leaders, like we supposed to have one figurehead. We have black leaders across the nation doing day-to-day things. We may not have a Martin Luther King that we can put at that's the chess piece, or that's the top guy, but we have people, leaders in the community every day who are doing things. So Mr. Dre, your definition of a leader was spot on to me. That was one of the best definitions of what a leader is. But then you turn around and say that we're not oppressed, and the studies don't agree with you.
I'm just gonna say this about the oppression piece.
I'm not. Hold on. I'm not trying to say that there's a guy that's putting our foot on, putting their foot on the neck on a day to day. It's not
over. It's like I said about the overt versus the covert. See, slavery and Jim Crow was overt. Things that's going on is covert. Like, for example, shout out to Dr. T.S.on Johnson when he stated only 10% of black boys, when they go to the 8th grade, can read on level, which if any other race of boys would have been a capital crime. And you're telling me that 3 things the black community never gave a damn about, and nobody ever debunked me in the last 7 years about it. Black boys, education, and being the heroes of your narrative. That's the 3 things, the 3 major things that screws up this community beyond anything.
What was the 3rd one? Herald of the narrative?
Becoming the heroes of your own narrative.
Okay, I got you.
A lot of black people have too much hope for somebody to pull them up. You got.
I don't think that's how we operate. I don't think black people have ever operated. I don't think we're operating like that. Yes, there's a small percentage of us that may operate like that, but the vast majority of black people that I've met through my travels, attending different universities, being in the military, living in different states, traveling around the world, we don't operate off a thing of hope. We know we're by ourselves.
Here's the question: how many black people can afford to travel around the world?
How many? Maybe not that much, but even the
ones
that's
the issue. You got to look at it from a different. You got to look at it from
Florida.
You got to look at it from.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
You got to look at it from. You got to look at it from the totality of the situation. We still own the same amount of wealth. Due to inflation, it seems like we own more, but the dollar ain't worth shit. Okay? We still own 1/2 of 1% of this wealth. Okay? We probably don't even have 20 billionaires that are black, and that's around the world. Probably barely 25, and that's really throwing the ball further. So when we look at economics, there's an old boy system and there's a new boy system. Yes, can we talk about it more? But guess what? If you don't have a stable society, if you don't have a stable, if your men are not galvanized, if your men are not it's like when I'm about to do my live stream, I'm gonna talk about this Ukraine and Russia thing, and I'm gonna talk about where the black leaders. See, when you look at it militaristically, you're not really supposed to point out the leaders in the wartime, right? That's why you don't salute in there, because sniper.
What
the problem?
Hold on. Let me pause you guys real quick, because here's go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You go.
It's gonna be like, I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida. I know some people that never left West Palm Beach, Florida, but they still don't operate off a thing of hope. And we, like, in my travels, most of the black people I know we know we're alone, and nobody's coming to save us, and we're trying to get after it. But at the same time, it's our right, constitutionally bound, our constitutional right to address the government of our grievances. So we can know we're by ourselves and still fight the battle and still say, yo, this is owed to us. That's all I want to say.
Yes, you're right. But the problem is, and Dre, I'm gonna bring you up, and then Simon, if you want to touch on something, I'm gonna start rotating you guys. I have a couple more people in the back that I want to bring. I see OG Patrice and Millennium Mark TV. Real quick, you're absolutely right, Pierre. New growth is very strong on this too. In reference, let me not misquote him. New Growth is big. He says, listen, we pay our taxes. We deserve equal treatment, period. If we want to say something, if we have grievances, it doesn't matter how you feel. We need to get it answered. The problem with that is, the big issue with that is, the government doesn't play by their own rules, right? There's a rule, there's a set of rules on the surface that we all read in a textbook, and then there are the rules below the surface on how it actually works. And in order to make it work, you have to have money. And with the money comes the power. What we have to do is, like Faulkner's saying, is if we're not collected, if we're not, see, individually we're good, collectively we're bad, and collectively is where the power is to make change. They don't follow their own rules in the book. When we went political science in school, it told you exactly how this whole thing worked. They didn't tell you about the truth. They told you about what they want to show us on the surface. Behind the scenes, you guys, it's dirty, right? We have to buy our politicians like everybody else, and we don't have enough money to do it. Go ahead,
I'm about to go, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. You're one of the few people that actually get on have a conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
I know.
Yeah, I ain't want to bounce though. All right, dude.
Go ahead.
This is what I want to say. See, this is one of the issues I have. We're all from different cities. I grew up in the South Bronx of New York, where racism is green. It's not black and white, it's green. I've seen millionaires treat white people like they were worse than us, but give this black dude mad love because he made him $3 million. And like, till you do what he could do, yo, you go over there. You know what I'm saying? It's money.
They'll still call you a nigga. Sorry.
Who cares? Nobody cares.
Who cares? Here's the thing. I'm glad you said that.
You know what I mean?
Hold on. I'm glad you said that. Because at the end of the day, black people are trying to come up. And this is the problem. That's where we're separated. Because we will sell our morals, our beliefs, and everything for that damn dollar. You understand what I'm saying? And we would sit down. Remember, it wasn't too long ago, everybody was dogging out this 18-year-old girl that was given $2,000 to get smacked and choked on this sadomasochistic little porno site. Dogging out. And then you look at it, you have a whole bunch of other black women doing the same thing. No, I'm saying it was big on, a lot of content creators were talking about it. All right. The problem is, the separation is, we're impatient. If we can't get instant gratification right now, the minute I want it, this is what I want. And if I can't see immediate change, I'm going to put my effort in. I'm just going to go ahead and move on. And because these dudes ain't talking about nothing. Here's the thing. It's just like this. If you play, everybody, I believe, played a sport. Just a playbook. You have a playbook. Okay, this is what we're going to do. There's a reason why black kids go and play football and basketball and not baseball. Baseball takes too long for you to make millions. NBA and NFL, instant. As soon as you get, yes, trust me. I played all three sports. Trust me. I had out of all three sports, I knew I was guaranteed to go somewhere playing baseball, but the road was just too goddamn long, truth be told. But what I'm saying is, we as a
you need money to play baseball, but you don't need money to play football, basketball.
Right, but that's my thing.
We ain't have money. I played football, and we all you need was a football in space. Baseball, you got to have bread. I can't agree with that.
But I played all three. Okay. I was in a better situation than most. I played all three. All right. And I made a choice. I made a choice to play football because I knew with my speed, my skill, I would go further than I would at baseball. But in actuality,
you could play baseball straight out of high school, right?
Right. But I was a way better
baseball football,
player.
you have to at least play 3 years of college, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So how is it quicker? Baseball has
no. Hold on, wait. We get off our topic.
Listen, football.
Hold on, wait. Hold up. We're getting off topic. But in reference, if you want to go how it goes, you can go you don't go straight to the league in Major League Baseball. You go through this pony, junior pony, Class A, single A, double A, triple A. Then you make money. Up. You really want to know how much you're making? You really want to know?
As a collegiate walk-on, I wasn't making no money.
Let me tell you something. An arena football player gets paid more than a AAA baseball player.
That's still 3 years of college football.
Hey, You don't have to have 3 years of football to do arena football.
I
But
mean,
anyway,
I hear your point, bro. I hear your
back to my
point.
point. When it comes down to us as a people, being the circles I run in, my profession, the cases that come across my desk, the houses I've been in, the situation I find us in, it is different. And it's going to be super hard to galvanize everybody when everybody is out for self. That is my point.
I
We
agree.
are out for self. And in order, everybody talked about leaders. We're going to have to find somebody that, first of all, we're fighting a war on too many different fronts. We have to take one battle at a time. Okay.
No.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why, Pierre. We ain't got enough soldiers to sit down and fight these battles on all fronts.
What we do? So let me ask you this, Dre, real quick, and I wanna bring. Go ahead, Simon. You want to say something real quick, and then the Seattle Black.
You're muted. You're muted, Simon.
Before you get into that,
Simon, you're muted.
All right, go ahead. The Seattle Black, he can't work his thing. Simon in the UK. He's in the UK. We don't have struggles for him in UK.
Don't diss the whole UK on my behalf. That's horrible.
Hey, bro, you gotta fix your internet.
He said, bro.
That's how they
do that to a whole of the UK.
Hey,
Only
man,
one
brother.
person.
This is
brothers, right? This has been a whole entire intellectual conversation, and it's very needed. And all of you guys up here, you know, I appreciate your respect to you, peace and blessings, and continue on your journey and bring the funk to the people.
Absolutely.
Okay? I appreciate it. You take
With
care.
that, I'm gone too.
All right, cheers.
Thank y'all for having me on.
Cheers.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
All right, rest in peace, Trayvon. That's the big homie right there. This go ahead, Seattle, Mr.
I'm gonna get out. Hey, you know what? This is my first time up on your panel, and I want to thank you very much for having me. And what a beautiful panel. So if any of the brothers still listening and the people still here, I want to ask a question, and I'm gonna hold you to coming back to this brother's channel at the end of the year. Where we are now, and where do you think we should be at by the end of this year? So come back to this brother's channel here, because I'm gonna come back looking for him, so we can get into that. It's more of an uplifting thing. It's not to say what one brother doesn't think is not important. We're seeing things from different regions and different parts of where we live, but we are strong enough to come together and debate, even laugh. And that's what's the beautiful thing about being with your brothers here. Is that we can get together and laugh and have fun and actually get some things conquered and moving forward. So I wish everyone the most beautiful blessings and peace, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And we will talk to you on the other half. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you. We really appreciate that. And I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. You know, we all want the same thing. I know we all have different ideas and outlooks on how to get there or what should be done first. We can all agree that Black people are due. We are overdue, and have a good one, brother. And we want to get back. We want to get back on a good path of correction. And I think the corrective path. There's multiple ways to do it. I think it needs to be done simultaneously. I think where I've got a lot of pushback from this video that I dropped was because I'm not focusing. People always say, "Well, you didn't talk about the past. You didn't talk." You know, and I think we're all in agreement, you guys, that the past and what's intentionally being done today is a problem. It'll always be a problem. The fight is never going to end. The battle is never going to end. And so, again, we focus so much on that piece and not enough on galvanizing our forces, having a strategy, putting the tactics together needed to get this thing rolling. You know, protecting the kids, protecting family, and then building wealth. I just feel like we keep talking about how we're being assaulted on all fronts, which we are, but you know, we can't change that, right? There's nothing we can do about the harm other people want to do to us, but what we can change are the things that we have control over. And there's multiple battles that need to be fought at the same time. There's no way around that. Before I introduce Millennial Mark TV and OG Patrice, I want to play something real quick for you guys, and then If you guys want to jump on something that we were talking about earlier, because I noticed when you guys came in, but for the sake of time, I really wanted to show this because this is where I want to start part 2 of this conversation. New Growth, you got time? I know you said you had to bounce. You good? I want you.
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right, bro. Hold on. And B Nizzle, shout out to B9. If you hear B9, come up. We'd love B9.
You petty, Nathan.
I am super petty, but you know, B9 is the homie. So I'm glad to see him over here, though. Much respect to B9. Let me make sure I do this right. One thing I want to show this real quick before I show the video. I want to get you guys' thoughts, and then I'm gonna show the video. All right, this is under the video that I dropped you guys. This is the comment I pinned at the top from Into MEUC2. She said she was talking about. I made a statement about the 12%, and I know you touched on it, New Growth. She said 12%. She said, that's crazy. I constantly try to recruit and get people to join the department. She's talking about law enforcement. Too many pass up the opportunity because they hate the police, yet too many complain that they don't see any officers patrolling the neighborhoods that look like them. Make it make sense. Cheers, Anton. So I wanted to touch on that comment, you guys, because, again, I have tried to encourage our people to join law enforcement. Millennial Mark TV, prior law enforcement. He can give you guys the same thing. We don't want to do the job. You guys, we have to be mindful of how we discourage our own people from these professions. And again, they're having impact. We need to be in positions of power in order to affect change, meaning that there are things that we can do that doesn't need government political assistance, right? We're talking about things that we can do on the ground. That was one of the comments I really want to touch on, because at the end of the day, we're talking about solutions. Again, that gentleman earlier who left, he said the difference between, no, I think Faulkner said that. Who said it? Someone said what white people do differently and what other cultures do. They groom.
It was the fact that white people groom leaders. We praise the leaders.
Yes. They groom their leaders, you guys. That is so key. We have to start raising up the people to be in these positions who are going to be loyal to us. And shout out to Seattle Black Veteran for this super chat. Thank you guys so much. And if you guys are rolling in, if you're in, please hit the like button. Really appreciate you guys and your support
Hey, Nate,
in this discussion. Go ahead.
You know what? I mean, you know me. You know, we was in the academy together. I'm a hood dude from the South Bronx in New York. My whole crew, we're intelligent hoodlums. When I tell about my high school, folks were like, what do you know about the hood? You went to a prestigious high school. No, I'm from the hood. I'm from the South Bronx. All right. The problem is, and what I see is that when I was growing up, I had one thought pattern. Okay. And it wasn't until I became a police officer that everything that I believed was thrown out the window, because I got to see both sides. Okay. I got to see, the white officers that I used to run from when I was growing up, to seeing white officers that had that same mentality, but a different aspect. And when you're on the outside, you really don't think you can make a difference till you become on the inside. I know I have changed many kids' mind state by being in there. And when the dude that left said that, Black people don't want to be police officers, you can't complain. Get in it. And then you can see where I became police officers because I wanted to change the mindset of little kids. I figured if I could get them young, they'll have a different mind state and they want to change things. Now, granted, what I'm about to say is kind of hypocritical, but like my 9-year-old daughter wants to be a police officer. And I'm just like, no, I do it so you don't have to, but I'm not going to discourage you from doing it, because if that's what you really want to do, I will support you. I will teach you everything I know so you can be a better officer, so you can be able to, do your job and not feel you have to prove somebody because you're a woman doing what most people think is a man's job. I'm gonna teach you how to be able to function and maintain your family and not let the outside and not let what you experience and what you'd have to do affect your household. But that's a father supporting his child in what she wants to do. You got to remember, a lot of us old. I'll be 49 in December.
Well, it looked like he about 35.
I was always told, like when I went to my high school guidance counselor, and I went to pretty much predominantly minority high school. I first went to a predominantly kind of white high school, transferred there to a predominantly minority high school, both prestigious. The first high school told me that I couldn't, there was things I couldn't do. Nah, you wouldn't be good there. No, I want to be an architect. Nah, you'll be good as a mailman, or you be good in this field. Well, why can't I be an architect? Why can't I be a businessman? Then I transferred to a predominantly black school. Like, yo, you can be whatever you want. You want to be an architect? You can be an architect. You want to be a businessman? You can be a businessman. We need more people at the table listening to the rhetoric that's going on. Okay. You see all these battles of these school boards. Who do you see up there at the mic? You see white folks at the mic. Where the black families sitting up there talking about, hey, hold on. Where's the black folks on the board? How come we're not voting our people into power to be able to make the decisions that affect our community?
Well,
why are we not voting for the right person that align with our interests?
Well,
okay, not because he's popular, not because I seen him on what's that show, on Apprentice, or he's a star, everybody know him. Why? My interest. I vote my interest. I'm neither Democrat, I'm neither Republican, I'm independent. I vote for my interests because what would make my community better? I don't look at, just because you come around my neighborhood because you're looking for votes, I'm gonna vote for you. No, I listen to it being said.
Or you got hot sauce, or you put on a dashiki. We got to, or if you say if you don't vote for me, you're not black, right? So that's a problem. Millennial, let me get your thoughts real quick. OG Patrice, I'm sorry I had you guys waiting so long. Shout out to B9, it's a brother right here. He showed up like Sideshow Bob right off The Simpsons. He came in here to.
I'm gonna just say this before I get off.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna just say this before I get off. You got to realize, man, that personally, I put a lot of people into the military, gave them the right place and the right temperament to have. Whether it was military, police, or wherever their college career goals, or both. You got to be where the people are. I've been coaching wrestling for 20 years. 21, actually. Damn. A lot of times we don't plan very well. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you're gonna have to have an objective. You're gonna have to have bullet points: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. If you're not willing to put the due diligence into the future, like Frederick Douglass says, it's far easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. If you're not going to get those children, especially your black boys who are doing the worst in schools, and put them up and say, hey, I don't give a damn. Sometimes you gotta be kind of tyrannical. I'm gonna push you to greatness. The hell with that.
So Faulkner, real quick, why are the boys doing so bad? What's wrong with the homes that are causing these boys to perform so bad? These black boys?
Well, when you look at education, it's never been meant for males. Schools are not meant for males. In their current form, they're not meant for males. At least of all, black males.
We're supposed to learn a trade. Hey, I'll be right back.
When you really look at it, if you're really brought up in a gynocratic community, which the black community unfortunately is, we may not like it, but that's what it is. All your literature and all your historical facts point to that. So when you're basically not the preferred child, how many times you'll hear in the black community, well, that boy needs an education. He don't need to be dependent upon nobody. No, what you'll hear is, oh, get that job at the supermarket. Go take that nice janitor job. You don't see a big push for black boys into higher academia.
Well, one would argue that a lot of our schools right now, especially in the black community, that there's more female teachers, not enough male teachers. There's not enough male presence in the home.
Guess who didn't want it that way?
Well, I mean, whether we wanted it that way or not, these are our results.
That's the results, but guess who didn't want it that way?
All right, hold tight 1 second. Let me shout out Sir Harold Speaks. Sir Harold Speaks, I really appreciate you, brother. He's always supporting. Thank you so much for this super chat. I really appreciate that. Sir Harold Speaks, you know, you were welcome to come up anytime. This brother be dropping gems too. And Lucchese, thank you so much, Lucchese, always supporting as well. She's also a member of the channel. Thank you so much, Lucchese. She's always a big supporter of the we got to get going and get to the movement, right? Making it happen. Minnie Mo, thanks for all the information that you share and caring about the Black community. You guys, I love the Black community. I love our people. I love our people so much. And I'm tired of our current condition. I know we could be so much further than we are. And there's so much more work for us to do. And it's time for those who can do to do, and allow those who can't, or they're misguided or maybe lost or misinformed. You know, we help build for them so we can bring them along, right? Following, hold tight. Millennial Mark TV, let me get your thoughts real quick before I play this video. What are your thoughts overall? I know we've been covering a lot.
Well, I wanted to go back to the can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to go back to the 12% because I don't think a lot of us realize how little we represent the police departments. And of course, like you say, you know, my background, you know, I have a background in law enforcement. I was a police officer for 5 years before I went into the world of business. But I mean, we are very, very underrepresented in the police departments. And that 12% is definitely true, because I can speak on the department that I was a part of. I think we had about 186 officers, and out of 186 officers, there was only 16 Black officers, including myself. And so, I mean, you look at those numbers. I mean, so that's real. And I can't remember who it was, but I was listening in before I joined in, and you know, there was talking about, you know, I heard some talk on the recruitment efforts, and you know, how they're not really allowing Black people to come into the departments, and that's just not true, because there's active efforts within every police department, especially ones that are in cities and metro areas that have a large Black population. There's a large effort to bring in more, you know, African-American officers as well as women. And, you know, it's just something that we don't want to do. And I mean, you know, and I understand it because the perception of the police department, but, you know, honestly, a lot of times once you get into that organization, you really see the inner workings. Now, of course, you're going to be exposed to some of the things that you have heard of, and, you know, you've heard people talk about, and you'll see them. I mean, it exists, but, you know, the thing is, being a Black officer, you can come in and actually change some of this stuff, but there's power in numbers. And when we're underrepresented, the same way we are in politics, the same way we are in our community, when you're underrepresented, there's only but so much you can do, you know? So, I mean, we have to get into these spaces and, you know, be willing to be a part of the conversation. I mean, even when it comes to the community, you know, how many of us on this panel right now have ever been to a city council meeting? I will tell you, every city I've ever lived in, I go to those meetings. I want to see what's going on in my community, you know, and that's one thing that we as a whole do not do. Yet we are the first ones to complain about what's going on, but we don't even, like, when, you know, a tax increase or something that's, you know, gets proposed, you know, we may hear about it in the newspaper, may hear about it on the news, but you would have had, you know, knowledge of that even before those entities put it out if you would have just went to a community board meeting. You know, we don't participate in our community, but we demand so much change from the people who are in power, yet we don't contribute. And I really feel like that's something that we need to start doing more. I mean, you know, we have time to sit back and watch, you know, Love and Hip Hop. Take that same hour and go to a community meeting and figure out what's going on, figure out, you know, what they're about, what kind of changes they're proposing to the community. You know, in some of these situations, we underrepresent ourselves by just not being participants. You know, I mean, it's deep, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And New Growth, I'm gonna let you go. I want to get OG Patrice real quick.
Go ahead.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Patrice. Sorry for the wait, you guys. You know, we get caught up in these conversations.
I'm starting to think you being like lead attorney now that you're waiting in the damn background is gonna be like.
You kept struggle streaming with that. You was cutting off.
I was, but I was back there for a while. I was like, do you see me back?
It was the background was packed. I'm sorry, OG Patrice. You know you're there over here. I always make sure you get up here and get a chance to speak your voice.
No problem. All the gentlemen prior to me coming up on here was definitely dropping some gems and speaking some very truthful things. I think when it comes to the leaders, what you guys were talking about earlier, the thing is that a lot of the leaders that are in the community that are doing the work, boots on the ground, you guys don't know their names because they're doing it quietly in the community, and they don't get the recognition as a lot of the big wigs that's out here just for photo ops and clicks and views. That's the difference. So when you're talking the difference in between some of the ones that have been groomed by some of the leaders that has not been so favorable to our Black community, you know, that's came up behind the Jesse Jacksons and Al Sharptons, they groom certain people that are in the forefront now. And those people have never been completely on the side of Black people. They've always been the people that sell out for the bag. And those same people are now up front again shouting Black Lives Matter and standing at podiums, you know, with attorneys waiting on that cut. You know, when the cop has deleted one of our Black brothers or sisters. So those type of leaders, I don't follow those type of leaders. But I know I'm in the community. I work with people that's boots on the ground that are doing the work grassroots in the community, but they don't have no name to you guys. So, you know, it's a lot of people like that work in the community myself. And when it comes to people like them, and even the name ones like Dr. Claude Anderson, he's been a leader for over 50 something years in the Black community, telling Black people how to do it right, telling Black people how to go for it right. Dr. Neely Fuller, he's on YouTube. He has all these YouTube videos talking about all the discrimination that Blacks face, and the reason why a lot, you know, in the 80s and 90s that the drugs were dropped off in the Black community that destroyed our community. He talks about all these things. You know, so when you talk, Dr. Joyce DeGruy, she talks about all of the systemic racism. So you say, just like that brother that was on the panel earlier talking about it's not overt now, it's covert, which means it's systemically done. It's done in every form of power that we have zero control over. We have no control over the healthcare organization. We have no control over the housing organization, the mortgage loans and banking systems. We have no control over the military. So all the powers that be are controlled by people that don't look like us.
So let me ask you, Patrice, not to cut you off, but I think that segues perfectly into this conversation of where we are. We understand the opposition that is, right, against Black Americans. We understand it. We are all in agreement on this panel of the opposition. Now, we are also well aware that money makes the world go round. And so, again, where do we need to start the conversation on how do we now get in position to actually combat these things? There's only one way to do it. There's only one way to do it. These things are never going to go away, right?
Well, I've said
because we're outnumbered. The 60%.
It's a fight, and it's the what side of the fight are you going to be on? Because we all talked about it, and you guys talked about it earlier prior to me coming up on here, and I've said it on many platforms. I worked the Obama administration. I know how politics work, and if we think that we're going to progress as a people and get anything done without some form, shape, or fashion of being involved in politics, we are sadly mistaken, because they control everything, which is controlled by the government. So if you are not like you guys said up here, grooming the politicians that's going to get behind your politics and your agenda and push things forward, because that's what I saw when I worked the Obama administration, when I saw all the millions and millions of dollars coming in for certain communities that now have laws in place. I know how it works. And I've said it on many panels. Politicians are purchased. And if we don't get behind that, put our power and our resources behind a politician that's going to push forward our Black agenda, because every other race can have something specifically for their race except us.
Right. But they play the game, though. Again.
Exactly.
Right. They play the game. So I don't want, and I want to say this real quick. So I want to play this video, and then I want to get New Growth. Not New Growth. I want to get B9 and B9 Cam. So let me know you're ready. You are right, OG Patrice, and this is where we were talking about the gentleman earlier, the veteran that was up earlier. He said this is a game of chess. We got to the game late on purpose,
and we got to stop playing checkers because we've been doing that for centuries.
Yes, thank you. See, now we all on the same page.
We're gonna have to start playing
something that OG.
Yeah, so B9, let me get your talk. Now we are all on the same page, you guys. Welcome back to the channel, right? Because I think we straddled a little bit. Listen, you guys, I know I'm a little radical with my thinking. I just want us to change our mentality. That's it, how we look at these things. Go ahead.
Can I ask one quick question, Nathan? Just a quick question, just a panel. How many other people on the panel know how to play chess? Everybody?
Matter of fact, I know how to play chess. I got Marvel versus DC characters on my chessboard.
Okay, cool. Because I know we use that analogy a lot, but I noticed the people that use analogy don't even know how to play goddamn chess.
This is
what
true.
Are you talking about?
This is true.
We don't but we don't mean the actual game, but we know. I'm talking the game of politics.
The strategy of the game.
But I'm in politics. I'm in politics. I know the game. I worked the Obama administration. I know how it works. So I know that game.
So I'm just saying,
that's not what he meant. He was saying that people don't understand. You can't use the word, can you play chess? It's chess, not checkers, when you don't even understand how to play chess, because you can't get the concept of the level of strategy it requires to actually be successful at the game. He's saying people throw it around and don't really understand the meaning behind it.
Well, it's metaphorically speaking when we say that.
That's before I get off. That's why I always say, majority of people play checkers. You got a few that plays chess, but the truly elite play Risk.
Well, I need to step my game up. I just learned about Risk tonight, so you know I'm gonna be on it.
And I'm about to start my live stream. Thanks for having me up. When you get a chance, don't be a goddamn stranger, huh?
All right, Bob. Hey, Nathan, real quick, I wanted to add to something that OG Patrice said before we go past it. Okay, so because she said something that was very important, I think a lot of us miss it when she was speaking on the topic of leaders. What kind of leaders do we have today? I think a lot of us don't recognize that times are different. Back in the day when we had Martin Luther King, you have to realize we weren't as easily able to have the microphone then as we are able to have the microphone now. And it goes back to what I said a little bit earlier, with my explanation as far as, how involved are we in the community. We always say, where's the leaders? Where's the leaders? Well, you know what? There's so many leaders who are within the community that we don't even know exist because we don't partake in anything that goes on within our community. It's because we operate as individuals and we look for people in Hollywood on the TV as, let's try to pick out our leaders from there, not realizing that we have leaders who are fighting for our benefit right within our communities. I bet you if you go to your community meetings, you'll see those people and you wouldn't be asking where are the leaders, because I can tell you who the leaders are in my community. I go to the community meetings. I'm one of them, in my community and on YouTube. There's so many leaders, but because we have been operating so long as individuals, we don't even know that these people exist. And it goes back to something else OG Patrice said, because she was spot on with so much that she was saying. As far as that education, once you're educated and you realize where the power lies, I'm telling you, you can go out here in your local community and find these leaders. They're everywhere. They're not these basketball players. They're not, today's modern court gestures. Because I'm sorry, but these sports players, I look at those as just modern court gestures. If you don't know what a court gesture is, look it up. But that's what I view them as. Those are not our leaders. Just dancing for the higher ups, man. And that's why us as a people, we overrepresent that group.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, but it's just a bunch of court jesters, in my opinion, But again, we have a lot of leaders out here. They're all around us. We really, really need to seek out our local leaders and uplift them, because that's the only way we can continue to move upward as a community, is by, supporting those who are willing to speak out in our own local communities. We cannot keep continuing to hope and pray that someone in Hollywood is going to speak out for us, because those people have signed up for something that we know nothing about potentially, and they can only say but so much before stuff gets snatched away from them. And I'm sorry, but a lot of stuff that has elevated them to where they are is tied to some hands that, hey, if they start saying certain things, it's going to get cut. They're not going to say certain things.
And let me just piggyback right quick, because we always say, because I heard Uncle Stu say it earlier before he left. You know how many black people is it millionaires? Those are celebrities, dude. It's not too many of your average Joes that are millionaires and billionaires. So let's be real about that. We're talking about your Bezos, your Gates, and people like that. 1.2% of the wealth is black people, and majority of them are celebrities. So we need to be realistic when we say that. It's not a lot of millionaires and billionaires that are black, regular mojo smoke people. So that part of it, you have to even include the celebrities in the 1.2%.
Which is sad. That's where the money is.
And listen, I just saw Kevin Hart, and he stood on the stage and talked about when he was out there when the whole Floyd George, what's his name? George Floyd situation, right? When they all went to the funeral and all that, he went out there and he was marching, and he talked about how the powers that be stopped him and said, "This is not your fight." You understand? They said that to a black man. So let me be clear when I say to people that we have to stop using celebrities in Hollywood, because they are under contracts, they have endorsements, they have insurance policies on them. So him going out there marching, wanting to be down for his people, as he said, and he said, "Hey, hell, I had to realize this ain't my fight, because when I was running, when the SHIT broke out," he said, "the police was looking at me just like another." And he a multi-millionaire, people. So let's be clear about that.
Because there's no group power. And again, that's the problem. There's no group power. When you have a celebrity, and B9, come on, I'm gonna go ahead and let you jump on. When you have a celebrity and you can't say certain things because they control your pocket, they control your wallet. You saw what they did to Nick Cannon, right? They had that man double backing with an apology. And so we don't own our own media. Hell, we're blessed to be on YouTube, you guys. If they decide, I was watching Farrakhan stream, and they cut him off of YouTube, and so
facts.
You guys, we don't have any power. We got to take ownership. But the thing is, we have the intelligence, we have the money, we have the wherewithal. We can pull. Someone said about the NFL, I said, listen, if you're not willing to quit your job, making $1 million a year, you're not down for the cause. B9, sorry for the wait, brother.
Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. I appreciate you having this platform. I appreciate the conversation that y'all are having. I rock with you, big dog.
Yes, sir.
But first and foremost, hello to everybody on the panel. God bless you all.
Hey, B9.
Hello, beautiful. I'm hearing a lot of buzzwords. I'm hearing a lot of the same things that I always hear. I got a question for you all before I go into my thing. Like, what is the most powerful and important substance in the world based on how we live right now?
Water.
I say time.
What you got, Mark?
I'm gonna say money.
Money
will buy all that. Money will buy time, and it'll buy you some water too.
Bro, water too. Damn, you right.
Mm-hmm. Right, what you got, Drake?
I agree. Finances, money makes the world go around.
All right, and what you got, Patrice?
I'm sorry, you gonna have to repeat the question for me. What
is the most powerful and important substance in the world based on how the world is run right now?
I would say definitely economics.
Economics. Okay. Well, y'all are on the right path, Mark, Patrice, and Dre, with the money and the economics, but it's ink. It's ink. That's all that it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's ink. Like when we say expressions like the book or the bullet, when we say expressions like the pen is mightier than the sword. When we have these conversations, I'm an investor, so I deal with Bitcoin and Ethereum and this and that. And the whole thing that Bitcoin is going against is called fiat money. And fiat money doesn't exist without a special type of ink and a special type of paper. So we are all controlled by ink. The second most important substance after ink in today's world is plutonium. Rothschild owns all of the ink and all of the plutonium. We talk about 1%ers. We talk about 2%ers. It's one family. We talk about Genghis Khan and Alexander and all these former conquerors and people that went from land to land with their sword or their arrow. And we talk about it nostalgically, as if those eras are over. We are being controlled right now. We have been under a dynasty for at least the last 500 years, at least. And it directly goes to the Rothschild.
Yep.
We talk about all this stuff that Black people have accomplished, and you know this, Nathan. My man, We Ain't Signing, talks about we got 450 Black banks in America, and we got this and we got that. Well, what is the number one Caucasian bank in America? Private bank.
You said it before, right? You said the Federal Reserve, right?
The Federal Reserve, exactly. And who owns the Federal Reserve?
And the Rothschilds own that, don't they?
The Rothschilds.
Hello.
Yep. That's the real white man people keep labeling as white supremacy, you guys. That's the real number one. That's the real boogeyman, you guys.
And that's what I'm trying to say. We talk about Genghis Khan. We talk about Alexander. We talk about Caesar and all of these great, and as if it's not going on right here, right now, under our own nose.
Yo, B9, let me throw this right. Let me pick it back right off what you said. This is where I don't think Black folk even understand how deep it goes.
Deep it is.
Okay.
Right.
No, I do. I did the history on. Oh yeah.
We talking about the average.
I'm talking about the average, not us. Now I can't even put us in that category. I just said not majority of our race don't know. Let me break it down to you. I'm gonna show you how deep the concerted effort was.
Don't get my channel canceled, Dre.
I'm not listen.
Yeah,
I'm not listen, I'm keeping it monetized appropriate. How about that?
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Thank you.
Here's the thing. There was some concerted effort, okay, when the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, they paid money to change the likeness of Jesus. They paid to make sure certain texts, when archaeologists found different artifacts, they paid to change the narrative.
Yep.
Paid. It was a concerted effort to make sure that the world didn't know that Jesus was born in the Middle East. He was blonde hair, blue eyed. Santa Claus was white. All this. It was a concerted effort to create a narrative. And how did
Dre, who?
Yes.
How did they get their wealth off the backs of who?
Everyone. I can't even say just Black people. Everybody. There was no discrimination. Everybody got it.
Who had
American
wealth
Indians,
besides Africans and who had wealth? There was no.
Let's talk about the originators. Let's talk about the originators.
No. We're talking about what I'm talking about is right here. Before we even came to this continent. Okay.
Right.
I'm talking about before we came to this continent. Okay,
right.
So we can't talk about the African kings and the wealth we have. That's besides the point. We haven't even got to that point yet, because you got to remember we weren't even in the equation yet. You know how we got in the equation? Because the Indians, the Chinese, and everybody else that tried to enslave were dying because
it wasn't working.
We weren't in the equation, brother, because Africa is the richest continent.
Right, but
so we were above everything else.
Exactly.
But hold on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you're missing the point. You're missing the point. See, when we talk about slavery, we forget that slavery started with the Dutch and then the Spaniards before it even came over to the U.S. Okay, it was the Dutch that went over and started pillaging Africa. Okay, so when
they doing that now. They still doing that.
Correct. But what I'm saying, well, actually, truth be told, China owns most of
China over there.
China buying it up.
Yeah, them too. You're right. Them too. I forgot. I left them out.
So when I start talking about history, I go back before we were involved, because Nathan and I have both been to Asia. We both been to Japan. I've been to China. My daughter speaks Korean, Mandarin, and my youngest daughter is learning Japanese. I'm telling you, it was so in depth that they were going overseas and telling and creating a propaganda that black people are dangerous. You need to be with a white man. White man, good guys wear white, black guys wear black. And these are black men. You know what I'm saying? But the difference is between China and Japan is that China drunk the Kool-Aid. Japan did not. Because if you did your history, you have black samurais. You have, we are enriched. Yeah, Yusuke, we are enriched in history. And the fact of the matter is, I am big on acquired knowledge. Seek, learn, read. Don't let somebody tell you something and you take it for gospel. Read. Open up a book.
Well, they say if you ever want to keep something from black people, put it in the book, Dre. You do know that's what they say, right?
But you know what? LeVar Burton told me that, reading Rainbow, saying, open a book, and explore the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Here's the thing. I went to a HBCU. I didn't go to HBCU because of the Cosby Show, because I had a full football scholarship to a predominantly white institution. And I just saw the disparity.
Yep.
I didn't feel oppressed, but I just saw preferential treatment. I just saw that somebody that was my size, that ran slower than me, get picked over me. Couldn't catch, couldn't block, couldn't do nothing. So what did I do? I took my happy ass to a HBCU. I didn't complain about it. I didn't sit down there and I said my piece. I said, you know what, I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm gonna go somewhere else. Because I was in the mindset that I didn't want. It was a false sense of reality. The world is not meant for, to just go to a predominantly black school. Till I went to a predominantly black school and saw that, hey, you look, I'm preparing you for the world, okay? And I'm preparing you and put you in a situation for you to take care of your own and pay it forward. When you succeed, you bring somebody up, okay? Not give them a hookup. Educate them and let them come up on their own merits and their own, attributes. Teach, and that's what I do. I teach. I teach other police officers. That's what I do, because if I can't complain about officers not being trained correctly if I'm not training them correctly. I can't complain about anything if I don't want to be part of the solution. So the problem is, we need to stop complaining and say, you know what? Forget about everything I was taught, for everything I was learned. We need to come together and we need to create our own narrative. You know what? All these reality TV, I'm not watching that no more because it's not real. It's scripted. Okay. We need to stop looking at celebrities for relationship advice. We need to stop looking at celebrities for financial advice. Okay, because we up there listening to them and taking what they say for gospel. Well, we're not in the same economic level that they are, so we can't make those same decisions.
So let me ask you: do you think that's just our community, or that's America as a whole?
I'm not worried about America as a whole.
Kardashians got 60 million to do their TV show.
Listen,
you see what I'm saying?
So you know what? Here's the thing.
We need those blind.
I'm asking the question. That's yes or no.
No, because if a black person, it's just us. Because if a black person went ahead and put out a sex tape, how much money they actually making off that sex tape? I don't know. I don't know any black women that got rich like the Kardashians for having a leaked sex tape out.
What does that mean? I'm just saying.
Hold on.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You good. New Growth brought up a good point, and this is one of the things that always it's a distraction for our community, and I'm gonna tell you why it's a distraction. The moment we start having a conversation about what black people need to do, there's always someone who comes in and says and interjects and says, okay, well, white people do it too. Or we're not the only ones. You guys, we need to stop caring about all that. We have so much more
Thank
stuff
you,
to worry
Nate.
about.
Yes.
Thank you.
We don't have time.
We the only one worry about everybody else, but they don't worry about us. We gotta stop that.
We gotta stop.
It's
comparing
escapism. It's escapism.
Escapism.
We are. Yes. It's
Hold on.
We're not worrying about
Oh, no, this was then.
in the society. So when we put a criteria for education and stuff like that, we compare that to the American criteria. So if America as a whole is doing a thing a certain way, why hold a higher standard to our people? That's called self-hate.
No,
that's called self-hate.
Go ahead, Negro. Finish that.
I was just saying, because nobody's saying anything about the opioid crisis, right? Like,
that's
we're
not
not trying.
problem.
You know, that's something that we avoided to the large part, right?
Because they got nothing to do with us.
They didn't got
nothing to do with us.
We had to crack
No, wait. I get what he's saying, because when it was the crack epidemic, they were sending our people to jail, harsher sentences, et cetera, et cetera. Now it's the opioid, and they got a mental health. They need to go get treatment.
That's the problem.
That's the thing.
We're too focused on what they're not doing to themselves instead of worrying about fixing.
But we're all Americans, brother.
But we're not. I think the problem is
that part is not true.
We're not all Americans.
We are, but this is the divided nations of America. Okay, we are separate and equal in this country.
We're not.
You know, we've had. Go ahead, B9.
We're not equal, ladies.
We're not equal.
You have to understand, and I've said this before, lady.
So stop telling us we need equal representation in the police department.
Lady Liberty.
No.
Lady Liberty holds the scales, and both of the scales are empty, but yet one scale is down and the other one is up.
I agree with you.
Liberty looks like, ladies and gentlemen. Liberty does not look like this. Justice does not look like this.
You're right.
The country, how it was built on equality, this is their equality. Chris Rock said it a long time ago in a joke. Black people got 7, white people got 3. White people win. That's
right.
Cool.
But that's the point.
So we got to stop going off of this. Okay, well, if I got one on my side, then you can have one on your side.
I agree with you that. I agree with you if that's the way we're going to move. But at the same time, the basis of this whole discussion was, what are we going to do to get over it? Stop complaining. But if you're going to sit there at the same time and say that this is embedded as the ground foundation, that makes no sense. That's an oxymoron.
No, well, I don't buy into that. Don't stop talking about it. Don't get over it bullshit, because we're the only race that it's told that, and no other races get over their atrocities. So that part I don't buy into. I don't buy into that part.
You have to get over it because you cannot do the necessary work being proactive if you are constantly always being reactive.
So let me ask you, do you think it can be equal?
Look at what the effect of what happened to George Floyd did for us as a people. It galvanized us because we reacted to something. But
B9, that's because we're still going through trauma constantly.
Let me finish.
OG Patrice, let him finish.
What if we took that energy before something negative happened?
Exactly.
And we were proactive. That is the whole, and new growth is so funny that you said this. How do you use the analogy of checkers and chess if you don't know how to play chess? Well, playing chess is all about being proactive. It's all about being 4 or 5 steps ahead of the actual move that you're making.
But the game of chess starts. Hey, but B9, the game of chess starts off equal, right?
It's not.
Everything is equal when you start chess, right?
No, it's not equal.
No.
Why not?
The white piece always goes
first.
But we have the equal amount of pieces. Come on, everybody knows some pieces go before the other.
No.
I'm talking about if we start the game without a queen.
Stay where you was at. Your point was wrong.
No,
not equal,
bruh. Your afro is bouncing, and you.
No, he's spot on though. He's spot on because the white piece moves first, and if he makes, it's all about who makes the right move. So whenever you're moving as the black piece, we're moving. No. Hold on. Let me finish. So of course the white piece moves first, And let's look at the black community as the black piece. The game of chess is literally us. We're making the wrong moves. You can win being the black piece. You just got to move in the right way. You got to be more strategic. To tell me anybody so when we keep using this analogy about chess, we need to actually make a connection how we move as a group and compare to the other side of the table. He is
so when you start a game, Nathan, let me say, when you start a game like a football game, you flip a coin first, right?
That ain't
right.
Chess.
Before you gotta stop changing the game, you gotta stick to one.
Wait. New Growth is making a valid point. New Growth is saying we have started. It's not fair. Yes. You guys, we are all in agreement. It's not fair. We started the game late. This is a game of a Monopoly. This is the reality of the whole entire thing. A game of Monopoly, literally. We show up to play, and someone had bought all the houses already. There's no moves for us to really make. But you guys, we're landing on these squares, and we're giving our money away to other people. Right. This is what's going on in our community. We started late. They gave us land, 40 acres and a mule, and Johnson took it back. Then we started to build our own. We had our own. They started destroying it.
No. I want to interject right there.
Go ahead.
And this is how deep the game is and how strategic they were hundreds of years ago. And we still have not caught up to that. They gave us what was it? The money that they gave Frederick Douglass after the Civil War for the Freedmen's Bank. Yes. They gave us money for the Freedmen's Bank. They did not take it away from us and steal that money and it just disappeared. They took that money and started HBCUs. So when we're talking about how important, and no disrespect, Dre, because HBCUs definitely do a lot for us, but it doesn't give us the money. It doesn't give us so when you go to Harvard, Vanderbilt, or Howard or Hampton, the same people are getting the economic advantage of it. So what that we are around our own people and we get comfortable and we get this and we get that. They get the money. And so the HBCUs work just like the NFL and the NBA. Who cares if you're getting a few millionaires, if you're literally making everyone else a billionaire? It is a pyramid system in real life.
That's
and
capitalism.
As each level goes up, they rise.
Yep.
We have to find a way to get around them and get above them. They have lapped us on the track 400 years.
Agreed.
So the only way we catch up is we either slow them down or we speed us up.
Pulling our money out
on them to give us stuff because they're not going to give us anything to put us ahead of them. So we got to stop relying on them to give us stuff. We got to
the best thing we have is our power with our dollars. We need to start spending our dollars elsewhere in our own communities.
With that being said,
hold on, Nate.
Go ahead,
Dre. OG Patrice, I'm gonna tell you that is on point. Here's the problem. The fact of the matter is, look when Colin Kaepernick took the knee, and how many folks actually boycotted the NFL? You know what I'm saying? How many people actually really boycotted the NFL?
Enough?
I know, not enough. No, not enough. Not enough. Because truth be told, I'm gonna tell you why not enough. I'm not talking about if NFL players themselves was like, you know what? Matter of fact, hold on. I sent Nate a couple of months ago the Boondocks when it was a Return of the King when Martin Luther King came back. You remember that, Nate?
Yeah, I remember.
And you remember at the end, it said the revolution was televised because the NFL players and the NBA players boycotted, went on strike, and that's how things changed. Okay, because truth be told, you look at the history of sports, Major League Baseball, NFL, whenever the players strike, I could always get somebody to take your place. No, you can't.
Exactly.
No, you can't. Because you can sit down there, and the thing is, the money is coming from us, and that's the problem. The money is really coming from us. You got to think about
true. That's true.
All the inventions that have come out, that the government has stole patents for was created by us. But we're the ones paying it. We're the ones that's funding the Jordans. We're the ones that putting money into Nike. We are the ones that are doing it. We are.
We are the problem, you guys. We are the problem. Our money. We're Jim Jones
of the problem.
Hold on, but
man. B9.
Ain't when the stimulus checks came out, then some new Jordans come out. Like, come on, man.
I don't even want to.
Hold on, y'all. Before we go too far, just take what Dre just said about Kaepernick. And Dre is absolutely right about everything he said, but it goes right into my point. Even Kaepernick was a reaction. If we're going to be proactive, we should boycott the NFL because there's not a black owner. The only people that are actually replaceable are the ones that are sitting on their ass and don't have to lift no weights.
Right.
Sign a check. And we
Byron Allen trying to buy what's the one that's up for sale now?
We can actually replace their white ass and put a black owner in that box. So that's where the real change comes. When we can put black people in the billionaires boys club and they actually start making decisions and have to come to us to the table. All of these white college coaches going around saying all of this racist stuff, they can do that because they know to make it to the next level, there's no black man there that they have to interview for or with.
Listen, you guys, and I don't mean to cut you guys off because Dre was killing it with his point. Again, he's absolute. Our power is in our dollar, and this segues perfectly into this right here, you guys. I'm gonna play this for you all. Everybody in the chat, pay attention. This is education time. Pay attention to this right here. I need you guys to watch this. It gets no better than this. I'm gonna drop you guys down, and let me go ahead and get this popping. Can everybody hear it okay?
The value of U.S. homes increasing by 27% last year. The value of U.S. homes increasing by 31% last year. Many black leaders are asking the black community to really
for our Equity and Opportunity Series. And Frank Holland joins us this morning with a closer look at the growth in black spending power.
Everybody pay attention to this.
Hey, good morning to you, Andrew. Black spending power reached a record $1.6 trillion in 2021. The ability to buy, save, and invest more than doubling since 2000. That growth exceeding the full U.S. economy, but actually lagging other ethnic groups, Latinos with a 288% increase, Asians with a 388% increase in spending power. However, other groups, they've also seen an increase in their net worth. Black Americans instead have seen their wealth actually fall by 14%. And with the S&P gaining 27% last year, the value of U.S. homes increasing by 31% last year. Many black leaders are asking the black community to really rethink how it spends.
Save money to purchase the most important asset you'll probably ever own, and that's your home. And that to me is equally important. As I said, I'd put it right up there with arguing or campaigning for or supporting voting rights.
I would love to see us spend more money in the stock market. Instead of buying the hottest new thing, buy the stock of the hottest new thing. And that's something that you can also pass down generation to generation.
Home ownership is typically the biggest wealth builder in the black community. That's actually fallen more than 3% since 2000. And annually, black families accumulate $300 billion less in wealth than white families, and they save $75 billion less. The racial wealth gap now at more than $11 trillion. Back over to you.
Frankie, the statistics are startling and fascinating in so many different ways. Do business leaders and other experts have thoughts on how to stop the trend and what's really behind it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, some of it is simply allocating more capital to assets that at least have the potential to appreciate, things like houses, stocks, and bonds. Other reasons are systemic, and that's why about 1 out of every 5 black family has a negative net worth. Right now, systemic issues.
Ain't no damn systemic issues at this moment.
Hold up, man. How you gonna take all that then when he say something that's the other way?
I know. Look at the hypocrisy of that.
Ain't no damn systemic issues. All right, let me let the brother finish. They paying him to say that. Because what he's not.
So they ain't paying him to say the other stuff?
Well, because you can't deny that. Those are facts. But what?
Okay.
But the moment you say systemic issues, you're taking the responsibility away from Black people. Where's our wealth come from? Us being together, right? He's not talking about broken families and families not together, couple, men and women not building, bringing their money and growing. He's not saying that. He's blaming it on the government. He's blaming it on the history. He's blaming on
Well, it's partially though, Nate, because we are not financially literate. Remember that we lack that. So that is partially to blame.
But when you say we lack that, which I agree, it becomes our fault because we're not in a world, we're not in a century where it's 2022. This information is present and available for all of us. So I think even though you're right, OG Patrice, I think when we talk about solutions moving forward is how can we get us all on the same page financially?
Right, but the difference is, Nate, though, especially when you come up as Blacks in the inner city, in the public school system, you're not taught that. But our white counterparts, whether they're Catholic, private, or in the suburbs, are taught financial literacy. That's the difference.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Hey, can we finish watching the brother?
I want to ask
it. Getting good.
Well, let me ask this really quick because it's really important. Because I'd like to know what the group thinks. The panel thinks on this. So whenever a Black person makes it and we see it, what does that look like? Like what does that look like when we see another brother that's quote unquote made it? Like what image are they portraying?
This dude that's on the screen right now about to make these excuses for Black.
You talking about on popular?
No. Like because it ties into what they're talking about when we're talking about our spending habits and the reason why our wealth went down. So I'm asking you guys, when a fellow Black man or woman makes it, what does that look like?
I'm dead. Typically, it looks like this guy on the screen right now.
And I'm talking about the drug dealer.
I don't answer.
Go ahead and say your stereotype, bro.
I'll say it. So when we see them on TV, these rappers, they're flossing, they got all the gold on, they got the shoes, they're dressed up. It's material stuff. Yes, it is. Our wealth goes down the toilet because we want the world to see that we made it, and the only way we like to show that is through stuff that don't even mean anything.
Oh, and let me tell you why you
look around. I'm telling you, look around. All the Black people.
Let me finish.
Let me finish the video.
Let me finish the video. But Melanated and Candid Productions had a good thing. Listen, me and Dre, Millennium Mark, we've dealt with people in our community. We are not stupid, you guys. We're not. Our people are nowhere near. We are just choosing to do what we want to do versus what we need to do. So that's
it's bad habits.
It's. All right, let me play the video.
Definitely bad habits.
It's bad choices.
Hey, hold on.
Yes, it's bad choices.
Say that because what Mark said is very important and it has to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Mark is right about the rap music and the portrayal and the movies and all of that stuff. But the reason that this gentleman on the screen right now is the problem is because the rap music and all of this stuff that you're blaming on the youth is the side effect and the aftermath of people like him that have made it and never came back to the hood to actually spread that knowledge, that financial knowledge, and do all of the things that once they get on the other side of the fence, all of a sudden they can't go back through for some odd reason and grab someone else up and bring them up with them. That's the problem.
And you're exactly right. It's that one at a time mindset, and some of our brothers will get to a level where when they feel like they're sitting so high, they'll look down and say, well, these guys down here should be doing XYZ. But when you got the next generation coming up, asking them, well, hey, brother, what is XYZ? Oh, man, well, I just had to pull myself up by my bootstraps. They're not, you're right. They're not coming back and teaching the next group how to elevate. So what they're not even, what they're doing and don't even realize that they're doing it is the people, the other side who has the microphone, who will say, man, I got it off of selling dope to the hood, and that's why I am where I am. But you got, like you said, I agree with you, because brothers like this, they will get right there and they'll say all of this crap, but they will not give any strategies or help to the people who want to get there without going through the ways that we know some of the the other people in our community get to where they are through the dope game, through all that bull crap. So you're right.
Which goes to what Zen was asking. She asked all of us a question on the panel, like, what are we doing in our communities and what does it look like? I'm in my community. I'm through the reading program. I read to middle-aged black children in the inner city. Every Tuesday I go and I read to them and I help them read, because I know little black boys especially are only reading on a 3rd and 4th grade reading level. So for me, who raised a son in the same inner cities, on the south side of Chicago, I know what that looks like. So that's what I do, as far as what I do to make a difference in my community on that grassroots level.
And we know everybody up here is making moves on this panel and doing things in our community. And here's what this brother is saying, double R, he's absolutely correct. What responsibility do parents have? And we talked about this in OG Patrice, you spoke on this correctly, and you're saying we're not teaching these things in our schools. They're not our schools, right? Our homes, these are not being taught in our homes, but you have other ethnic groups that are teaching these things in their homes. We have to get this wild throwing our men are throwing their seeds around left and right. We got women catching these seeds by these reckless seed throwers.
Oh my God.
Right? So we keeping it real. What is he saying? Again, poverty is linked. Poverty is linked to these single parent homes, whether male or female. It's hard when you have 3 kids. You got multiple fathers. The father is not active. The father is not working. There's an economic downfall in that household. It's hard to raise these kids, and these kids are on the street doing whatever they want to do. They come across the police and they get put in jail. There's side effects to these things. We got to get our homes in order. We can't educate these kids about finances. The school is not going to do it because we don't own the schools, right? We can't even teach what we want in these schools. We're not even on the board of education. And even when we are, we're not pushing anything valuable to help grow our children properly. We don't make our own textbooks. We don't educate our own kids because our homes are broken. We don't have our own schools, right? How can we educate a people to do something different when we don't have control over anything? The things that we can control without the government's help, we are not doing, and those are the things we need to focus on. Let me play back this video real quick. B9, you got
I agree with that. I agree with Nate.
All right, let me
lining in housing, disparities in education, and other.
Let's listen to his excuses he's about to give black folks real quick.
One out of every things like houses, stocks, and bonds. Other reasons are systemic, and that's why about 1 out of every 5 black family has a negative net worth right now. Systemic issues, redlining in housing, disparities in education, and other issues that are going to take a longer time to address.
Now that part is true, Nate. That was spot on, Nate. That part right there was spot on.
No, hold on. I just told y'all the biggest wealth loss in Black American history was in 2008 with the predatory lending process. That's facts. Is that not facts, black people?
It's facts, but the problem is
but it's facts. So therefore, you have seen a decline in wealth. It didn't affect their community like it affected ours.
But here's
That's
the thing.
Inaccurate.
So what are we doing about it?
Hold on. It did affect their community. Believe it or not.
What did I say? Hold on, brother. What did I say?
You said that it affected our community. It took our wealth and it didn't affect any other community.
No, that's not what I said. I said it didn't affect our community like it didn't affect their community like it affected ours. Everybody had an effect. But
right.
Yes, destroyed. That was
the biggest wealth loss.
One at a time.
What I'm telling you, it did. It may not have affected them to the aspect of we did, but hold on, let me finish. Yes, it did. Because number one, I have stocks. And I know what it did. You know what's the worst thing? The white people who've never experienced poverty, that is their biggest fear. It ain't the black man or the black woman. It's poverty. And when the housing market went down in 2008, yes, predatory lending, black people was getting high interest rates, paying mortgages they couldn't afford. But on their aspect, you have to understand that they had a different aspect on that where it affected them. In 2008, everybody, when I say everybody was affected. It wasn't just a black specific incident.
You're arguing something I didn't say.
I never said you said that. What I'm saying is when it happened because when I I bought my house. Me and Nate started the academy in 2007. Okay, I had just bought my house, and what I did was I went through a black bank to get my loan because I tried credit unions, I tried everything else, and I didn't like the interest rates. And I was like, "You're bugging. I'm getting a foreclosed home because I already bought two other houses, and here in Georgia, you have to live in a house that you buy as your primary residence for a year before you can go ahead and use it as rental property." Okay,
Right.
I was in my 30s, so when all that went down, okay, I saw a decline in everything. I thought I was going to lose my property. I was living check to check because the money that was going in, but I wasn't alone, is what I'm trying to tell you. I knew other white investors that were struggling worse than I was. Okay,
But you're
and what I'm
saying investors. You
no
know
no
what
no
I'm saying?
no
It's
no
a
no no no.
difference between
I'm an
investors
investor,
and
right? But
go
I'm
ahead.
an investor. But what I'm saying is they were hurting also because they weren't putting black people in their homes, they were putting white people in their homes,
Of
and they were
course they was hurting.
right,
But I'm
and they were
saying it's a
hurting.
difference between taking the L in your business and taking the L in your personal finances.
But
this is facts, brother.
that's-
It was the biggest economic loss in Black American history.
Yes, but
the stuff that we had is our
I'm not saying they
tangibles. So
didn't
our
have no
tangibles, but our
Huh?
tangibles was the homes. We're not talking about. So you're saying that we took the bigger loss. I mean, we're looking at, to be honest, man, our wealth was, you're right, within homes. And that's where we took our L through those subprime, that lending issue. But they took even bigger losses through it, things that we don't even have a lot of our wealth in. 401ks, stocks. Man, there was people jumping out of buildings. There was people self-deleting left and right that did not look like us. They took a big
Are you
L.
saying that
They
most
don't know
Black
how to
people
handle
don't
that.
have 401ks?
No, you're not
That's a
listening.
whole.
You're not listening.
That's
You're
not
not
what I'm
listening.
I'm saying the majority of the wealth and the assets that we carry was within the properties that we had. When they gave us those subprime loans and we started getting houses and we started elevating. Whenever that happened and we took an L, it wasn't just us. We just took it in a different way. So our loss wasn't in stocks for the most part. Our loss wasn't in.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Listen,
This is
new growth.
facts.
New growth.
I'm 44 years old.
New
I
growth.
took a loss in stocks. 80% of Black people live above the poverty line. What are we talking about? Like everybody come from the hood.
No, see, that's not what
Everybody
we're
doesn't
saying.
come from the hood.
New
And let
growth.
me give you one thing. You
What
said,
Mark
like I
is
said,
saying. Listen,
the biggest.
Mark
The thing is that we as Black people know how to handle poverty better than our other racial counterparts. That's the difference. But there was definitely a higher loss. I have friends and family members that never was able to get their housing again, was never able to get businesses and things of that nature back
And that's
again.
what he said.
But again, here we go again, starting all over. We handled that differently than from our Caucasian persuasion counterparts. That's why they was doing things like self-deletion and things that Millennial Mark was talking
And
about.
all of a sudden it became the 99%. Before that, we was always 13 to 12%. But when they was fucked up, we was 99%, right?
Well,
we was a part of them. We was equal.
Well, you know what a lot of people don't talk about is that, and I gotta shut this down in just a little bit, but because I love this discussion, and we're gonna have to part two this because I have another segment that I want to show for everybody, and I'm a live stream it tomorrow as well. So I want you guys to return. But what Millennial Mark and OG Patrice are saying, you guys are absolutely right. They're leading. Unfortunately, I love everybody. I have friends in all ethnicities and things like that, as I know you guys do as well. White people, their leading cause of death, and their top leading cause of death is self-deletion. You guys, it is self-deletion. That is one of their top three. Ours is like eating and homicide, right? So all ours is, but the reality is we're different, right? We handle things different. We handle stressors differently and things like that. The reality is too, is that when white people get sick, Black people get the flu, right? And that's a very known fact because we don't have the same financial foundational strength as our counterparts. That's why everything that does topple in this country, it hits us harder. COVID and so forth, the housing crisis. So New Growth is correct. Now, were we self-deleting? No, not like the others.
No.
Not like we and like OG Producer said, we handle stress different. We handle poverty different and things like that because our values aren't necessarily rooted in the love of money, though we're flashy at some point, right? B9, I want to get your last take on it before I shut things down. What are your thoughts, you guys? And again, in the chat, I really appreciate you guys sticking with us in this conversation. You know, I'm going to put more videos out like this where we're going to be talking about solutions. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts, your closing thoughts on that video, that news video about the $1.6 trillion that we spent, and then also the loss of our wealth in the process of that. And, you know, just real quick, if you guys want to go around, what are your thoughts? New growth. Well, B9, let me start with you, and then I'm going to do new growth, and then millennial, and then we'll hit.
Well, in regards to the video, it's absolutely, and it has nothing to do with housing or no market crash. It has to do with how we spend money.
Correct.
It has to do about the fact that we are the largest consumers with our 13%. We buy more than the other 87%. So that's the problem right there. And the issue is that saving money, if I save $100, I have $100. If I make $100, by the time taxes is finished with it, I got $66. So we have to understand that saving is more valuable than even earning in the grand scheme of things. And what are we doing with that money? That is the key. Are we getting our nails done, our hair did it?
We know we're not getting our hair done in this motherfucker.
Well, not
what you said. I'm getting my head.
But I'm talking about the Black community.
I know, brother. I know.
And then we come up with these BS excuses for it, like, oh, well, my man ain't gonna want to take me out if I don't have these French nails and these this and that. I ain't never seen a heterosexual man not want to be with a fine woman just because her toenails weren't matching her fingernails. I've never seen that. But yet we accept these BS excuses.
Right.
And then it always sets us back because we're already 400 years behind. But now we're making excuses to get even further and further behind. I brought up the Rothschilds at the beginning because, you know, I like to start off from the macro and work my way in. Now, our conversation took us in a lot of different directions, so I never really got a chance to hone in on my point. So I'll just make the point without going through the layers of it.
All right.
The whole point of it is that we have to educate ourselves, like Miss Caramel in Hawaii has been saying in the chat the whole time. And you have to educate yourself by realizing that you are asking your oppressor, who is also oppressed, for solutions.
Thank you.
Just because we're down doesn't mean that the people that are on the next level of us aren't down either.
There you go.
We are have so many layers that we have to unpeel like an onion, that it will take us so much time just to get back to ground zero. We are New Orleans as a people. We are below sea level. We have to work hard as a race to get back to sea level and then talk about thriving. Because if you look at the penal code system today, and I have gentlemen on here that can speak on it way more than I can, but the one little bit that I do know is that there are penal code systems in penitentiaries that are paying inmates 25 cents an hour for their labor. Now, if you take inflation into that, that is literally less than slavery, less than free. That means that you are literally now paying the white man at least 10 cents an hour to work for him.
Yep.
If you understand inflation, if you understand how America really works, but I'm having conversations with people who don't really understand and have the true education to have this unilateral conversation with me. And it does, I must admit, get very frustrating when I hear people fighting for their oppressor. One of the smartest things that OG Patrice said today was, giving credit to Dr. Claude Anderson, who lives 10 minutes away from me here in Washington, D.C. And this man is so powerful that he has written books that he has tried to get into education systems, not into a school, into systems. But the powers that be have made sure that that education and that knowledge has never reached the ears or the eyes of the students that it was intended to reach. I wonder why. Rhetorical question.
Better get the book before
Powernomics.
You better get the book before they take it off the shelves.
But right after Patrice said about powernomics, then she went right back into politics. That's not rule number one. Rule number one is economics.
Right.
That's rule number one. And we have to stop putting the cart before the horse. That's why we're not going nowhere now. We whipping the cart. Let's move. No, put the horse in front of the cart and then see how far you move. And we don't understand the importance of chronology. We are good at it when we're talking about history, but first and foremost, we have to leave history alone.
Well, obviously, we already got the economics. If Black people spending $1.6 billion, the economics is there. It's just being spent at 1.6 trillion. We got the economics already. We just spending it in the wrong place. And Black women, please hear me when I say this. I know we want to look beautiful and good, but to be able to spend $7 million in a haircut industry where every time you go to a beauty supply store or a nail shop, you don't own it, but you give your money to them. I'm sorry. That's a problem, Black women.
That's a movement on itself. B9.
But yeah, and like I said, and I'll let y'all rock because I know you're about to end the show soon. But my final point on it is that we know the answer, but there's a difference between knowing and realizing. We have to realize it so that we can materialize it, so that we can actually see it, smell it, taste it. Everybody's been saying these same talking points forever. I'm a real estate investor as well. And when I go around and acquire properties, every Black person is telling me about gentrification and this
and redlining,
but never talk about the solution. And they don't even realize that I'm there to buy their house. Well, they don't even realize that I'm there to get pennies on the dollar so that I can now flip it and make what I need to make off of it. But I have no pity because when you've owned something for 25, 30 years and it looks the same as it did in 1950, and then someone else comes in and in 6 months to 2 years, it's added more value, and you've turned $1,000 rental into a $1,500 rental. Miss me with it, because that's the way the world works, and that's the way the world will continue to work until we assimilate enough and figure out the system enough to actually make change in the system. We're all just living in the past, trying to make ticket signs and doing all this stuff. If Martin Luther King had cell phones and social media, he wouldn't use those same methods that he used back then. So why are we using these same methods in 2022, expecting different results? Be proactive and stop being reactive and nostalgic.
Whew. And get out your feelings. Get out your feelings. And shout out to Melanated Canada. We should own every aspect of the hair industry from India. Exactly, you guys. There's no reason why we are being pimped in all these industries. These are things that we can fix.
That's an excuse.
What's an excuse?
What you just said. We should know. We're gonna own it. That's a warrior. That's a fighter. See,
now you talking. Now you talking my language, new growth. That's the new growth.
That's
proactive. I'm holding you accountable to what you say. You got solutions, but you ain't got no work ethic. You shouldn't say what he said was good. No, that's wrong. We gonna own it.
We gonna own it. Absolutely. I
that's
like
it. We gonna do it like that.
Yes, sir. That's new. Look at
that's what I've always been on. I just let y'all know the foundation from where we came from. And I'm moving. I'm building.
All right.
I ain't got to sit up here and get a solution for everybody because you're gonna do it a little different than me. B9 gonna do it with the stocks. I'm doing it with real estate. My brothers over here might do it some totally different way. Right? My sister down here is doing one of the most unthankful jobs is what I'm trying to do. Is reading to the kids. And you know what I'm saying? And I have two daughters, and it's not just the boys, because the women are lacking heavily in the mathematics. We are failing tremendously. B9 noticed he was a teacher, right? So he knows the things that we have to go through. So let's stop saying what we need to do. We're gonna do it.
All right, I like it.
I tell you, know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when I was growing up in the 90s, right? You know, I had a homeboy, so he had to ask me like, yo, I want to do, what you think? I'm with you, I'm down. You know what I'm saying? Because I loved him that much. Even if it was some stupid shit, I was rolling like that. My man talk about he from the Bronx, he from the hood. He know what I'm talking about then. We move a certain way. But when it comes to this, we like, I want to feel it my way. Last thing I want to say is, it's funny. I know I love you, B9, but it's crazy. You said it all starts with economics, right?
That's right.
I remember y'all arguing it start with family. Right? You put a video up right there, Nathan, right? That it start with family.
I know you was going there.
I'm gonna leave it at that. Let y'all swim in that hypocrisy. I'm gonna leave it at that. I love y'all, but my point is the whole thing. We don't need to argue about that because either way, we gonna get it either way. Especially and I know a lot of brothers over here probably like immigrants. Like we need y'all, man. We got to stop all this arguing and crazy shit, because it's like y'all bring certain type of fight, a struggle that we haven't experienced. You know what I'm saying? Like when I go to Jamaica and when I do research on Nigeria, like they got SARS, right? The black police are over there killing the young black men. South Africa, the young black, my man from the Bronx, Drew. You remember Karis, one black cop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black cop. That's history. So we can't say it's the cop. We need more black representation. That's why I say we can't forget history, because we know that the war on poverty turned into the war against crime, the war on crime, right? And that's when they put 200,000 more cops in what community? Our community. Cops, we know this. Cops aren't spread evenly throughout the states.
Right.
The opioid epidemic is going crazy in these white communities. They're not putting 200,000 more police over there. So we got to know it's systematic.
But people are gonna do what's best for their people, and that goes back to what Dre's about to say. We got to put ourselves. What I've been saying, we got to put ourselves in position so that we can take the front line on addressing our issues.
Nate, may I ask you and Dre, and Millennial, because I think all three of you were in law enforcement, right? Okay, so my perspective I guess in my opinion, a perspective of that is, I don't think that they're offering enough incentives for police officers, right? Like in you all opinion, would you say that you guys are some of the lowest paid people that risk your lives the most, but you don't get the incentives coming in, and there needs to be like a barber have to have more hours to be a barber than police officers do. And I think that is something wrong there. You know what I mean? For that to be, and then the incentives, because when I talk to a lot of the younger generations in the schools and about becoming police officers so that they can be a part of the community that, and police, be able to police the communities that they serve or live in. They say, I don't want to be no cop. Why should I risk my life in this little money and, and this and that and the other? So what are some of the things can be done to make that look better for young black men and women that may consider to be police?
I would love to speak on that. Because I got into law enforcement at 20.
Before the cops step in, I just want to say real quick, because I want to hear y'all answer this too. But OG, you got us there, and that's all I was trying to get us to. When we talk about actual solutions, instead of always the problem, that's the solution, is incentives. We have to be smart enough as the leaders of our community, and this is why we only need 10% to accomplish this.
Agreed.
If we put the right incentives into play and we are proactive with this, the other 90% will follow, because it will be to their best benefit to follow us. Now that's all I wanted to say. That's the actual solution.
Fact.
All right. Well,
Facts.
let me
I
let
agree.
me let me answer. Let me answer OG Patrice, since I'm the OG of the crew. I'm the old
He's
man here.
the oldest, and then Millennial. I'll let you go ahead and Dre, leave some for Millennial.
I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to say this on one aspect. All right. I used to always think that police officers needed endorsements just to make extra money. But at the end of the day, in order for us to move forward, you have to make sacrifices. Okay? How important is your community to you? Because the thing is, since I've been in law enforcement, in 18 years of law enforcement, I know 4 kids that I've mentored in areas that I police that are now law enforcement officers. Okay? Because Officer Williams is cool. He that dude, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, he really care about us and he mentor. He just don't call. He always checks on us. I want to be a cop. Going to school, they're police officers now. When I was a kid, I didn't want to be a police officer because I didn't want to arrest my friends. But my sister was in law enforcement and was pushing me to it. Like, look, you'll be good. The only way you can make a difference if your community is by being there. Unfortunately, you have to sacrifice. Me and Nate was always told, we don't get into this business to get rich. You don't. You get into this position to make a difference. And unfortunately, some folks get into it for the wrong reason because they need a job. And unfortunately, the vetting process isn't what it needs to be able to get those out of it. I did it because I knew that the way I grew up, somebody younger that was my age, I can relate to, and I could tell them how I grew up, and I could tell them what I had to do when I was a kid that I didn't have to do, but it was a choice that I made to do. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take that step because, believe it or not, when they put all those officers in the street, majority should have been black. And believe it or not, the more black officers you have in a particular area, the more say so you have of how that community is policed. Because you have folks at the table that can sit down and say, no, 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 hold on. This is not what's going on. I don't know where you're getting your stats from, but I patrol this area every day. All 30 of us patrol this area every day. This is not what's going on. You don't have that. So the more black people you have at the table to sit down and say, this community is not bad. We know we have already identified who the problem children are, and we got it. But and then in reference to the money's going to equipment. It's not going towards pay. Okay. And that's what it is. And the problem is, if you're going to pay officers more money, then you need to raise the standards of the officers. Okay. I've been, 18 years, I'm coming up on retirement soon. You have to pay if you're going to pay, it's like McDonald's. Unskilled labor. You want to give unskilled labor $35 an hour, then anybody could do it. You have to raise the standard. Comes with the money, comes with expectations and the standards. Okay. I don't consider myself to be lower middle class or middle class because I've been doing this a long time, and I trained and put myself in a better position to be able to financially secure for myself and my family. We have to take our community and take the responsibility of lifting our folks on our own. But it starts with our own home. We got to raise our children correctly. We got to be that image, and be proactive and listen and watch make sure our children aren't watching the wrong thing. Make sure that the folks or the kids that they hang around are the best influence for our children, and make sure that, 'cause of course you're going to have children that fall through the cracks, but you have to be proactive. You can't wait till they get in trouble to start teaching them. You start teaching them morals and values up front. I said, I'm giving it up to Millennial Mark. Yo, y'all have a blessed evening. It's always great talking to you guys.
All right, thank you, Dre.
All right, thank you. But I want to add on to what he was saying. So OG Patrice, you were asking, what's something that could incentivize, more young black men to want to enter, law enforcement. And I'll say I entered law enforcement at 20 years old. And one thing that, anyone outside of law enforcement don't realize, yes, we look at what law enforcement pays on paper, but a lot of people don't realize officers can make a ton of money doing extra duty. I will speak on my department that I started with. The way our work schedule was, I'd have a week where I work 5 days, and then the following week I'll work 2 days. So my schedule would be like a Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the following week, it'll be off Monday, Tuesday, work Wednesday, Thursday, off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I know plenty of officers in my department who's knocking out $80,000 to $100,000 a year. Young officers with no wife, no kids. They're just out here grinding it out. So there is money to be made, outside of what the salary on paper shows you. Another thing as well that I can speak on personally for me, which actually helped me
millennial, not cutting you off, but is that money due to overtime because of short staff?
No, extra duty is not overtime. So extra duty is like when you see a cop working at, a local bar or a local club. So no, it's not extra duty. I mean, it's not overtime. And that's actually, for the most part, with my department, you're getting paid at the end of your, at the end of that shift. So when you were doing a extra duty, some places will pay you at the end, and then some places you'll get a check, like a week later. But no, that's not overtime. But another thing a lot of people don't realize, and I'll speak on this because this is what I was doing, where I lived in an apartment, and once they found out I was an officer and I had a take-home vehicle, I no longer had to pay rent because I had a vehicle I can bring home. And we know that, where you live is a large source of where you spend your money. I didn't have to pay rent. If you're using if you have a take-home vehicle, for the most part, you're using the patrol car more than you're using your personal vehicle. There's money to be saved all the way across the board. So when it comes to like the the monetary side of things, there's money to most definitely be made, outside of just what a salary shows you. But like I said, again, just the overall look of the profession as it stands now, I can understand why people, aren't really gravitating towards it. Me personally, outside of the money, because I'm in the world of business now, I could never go back to that. But even outside of the money, if I was to go back into the world of employment, the political climate, I just wouldn't go back into it. It's just not, it's just not there. It's not there for me. And I had a passion for it. I enjoyed the job, for the fact that, I'm able to help people. And I've brought that over to what I do now on YouTube. You can go to my channel. It's not a big number, but I've been on YouTube for 5 months, and I've worked with 3 brothers right now. I've put them in a position to earn 6 figures this year. They've never seen that kind of money. And so again, it goes back to, your intentions and what you're doing. And, when you come into something such as law enforcement with the right intentions, you're able to help people in that profession. But, once you exit, just like Nathan's doing right now, we're looking at a panel of leaders. New Growth was saying how he's helping people with, real estate. You got B9, you're helping brothers. Nathan, you're helping brothers. OG Patrice, you're helping people on the political side of things. I'm helping people on the side of business, uplifting brothers, showing them an industry they can get into that can literally make them $100,000 their first year of doing it. This is a panel of leaders, and again, when we're saying where's the leaders, you're looking at them,
Mm-hmm.
But sticking on that topic of law enforcement, it's hard for me to, be a proponent and recommend people go into it, because honestly, I got a son, and he wanted to be a police officer, and I told him, it's not something you're not gonna do that, and I loved it. It's just It's different. It's really different, and I wouldn't go back into it. And I love helping people, but I just wouldn't go back into it.
It's tough. It's tough, you guys. And I mean, just like Millennial Mark just said it, he did it. He wouldn't let his son do it, and my sister wants to do it. And I told her, no, you need to be maybe an investigator, right, for the feds, and so I know the dangers of it. But, working in the Black community, the dangers came from Black people. It didn't come from, I wasn't dealing with white people, you guys. I was dealing with our people. The person who almost took my life was an African-American man, right? So when we talk about incentives, I see your face, New Growth, but hear me out. We have to talk about our community and how we treat one another, where the love is. Mm-hmm. You want people to volunteer. Millennial Mark just said he's not going to have his son do the job, and he did the job. If we're not, we can't. Why can't we encourage our people to serve our own people? It's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
See, but we don't know the
whole. Is. I mean, I've been shot at twice, and each time I was shot at, it was by somebody who looked just like me.
And that's the thing. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second.
Hey, and New Growth, while he waits for a second, I just want to take this time because you brought up something very interesting. And I didn't like the word hypocrisy that you used. But you brought up something very interesting. The same way that we talked about chess and we said the process is about the white piece moving first, it's the same thing that I meant about economics. Right. Economics is the key. But when we sit down and we build and we plan on how we're going to accomplish getting the economics that we talk about, step number one under that subtopic is going to be the Black family. Because the Black family is the first and easiest way to get to the main topic, which is acquiring the finances that we need to be a voice that is finally heard in this global financial market. That's step one. So it's not an either or thing. It's kind of like the whole coin. You can't just take the coin and then say, I'm leaving out tails. You're taking heads and you're taking tails.
I got you. I was just messing with Nathan the most because he didn't pop when we was on there. He didn't popped it up on the stage. You know,
Nate, my man on that. But I just wanted to clear that up because a lot of people think that numbers can't lie, and a lot of people think that the process is always the truth. If we're talking about education and the importance of education. I'm a former school teacher. You know that, New Grove. So the one thing that I want to see change, and when we have these conversations, is I hate the word history, because history means the past from somebody else's perspective, from somebody else's lens. You can get a PhD in history, but you cannot get any degree in the past. Because the past does not come with a perspective. It's just giving you the facts of what went on. It's letting you know that, yes, white people during a certain amount of time enslaved Black people. But when you get into the history of it, it tells you why they did it and why it was good for the economics of America and why. And even though they didn't like it for their soul, they had to do it for this reason. Fuck that shit.
Right.
We got to get to the nuts, the bolts, and make these situations black and white as possible so that we don't have to go wasting our time through all the muck. Because what these Rothschilds and what these De Beers and all these other big time wealthy people do is they spend $1 billion to make sure that you don't make $1 million. In the same way that I'm saying that the solution is for us to incentivize things, they already have that game plan. That's why we have to cheat off of their paper. Rothschild and people like that know that they were behind making the Oprah Winfreys of the world. And because of that, they incentivize them to say, hey, yeah, you can go build a school in Africa, but you better not build a school for African Americans. Then you gonna pay the price. What happened to Oprah when she messed with the beef industry? Hello. So they are incentivized not to help us. They are incentivized not to come back and pick us up out the muck. So you have to understand that even the people that we claim are on our side, when you really get down to brass tacks, are our enemy. Because they've already made it through the other side. I never understood it when Hispanics were voting for Trump, when he wanted to build a border against their own relatives. But as I understood money better, I said, oh, well, they already got theirs. So fuck the rest.
Of course.
And to add on that, before he left out of office, out of all that talk he did about their relative, he signed a multi-billion-dollar bill for them before he left office. Facts.
No, you're right.
And he signed him and who's the one that just got the divorce? Bezos' ex-wife. They gave all that money to the HBCUs, and all of these Black people were so happy and this and that and that. They gave that money to white people. White people own them HBCUs, y'all. Okay, they did not help us out. They did not do us a favor. Okay.
Isn't Spelman College named after? Was it one of the Rothschilds' wives or something like that? Somebody's wife.
Most of them are named after white people. Morehouse.
Howard University was a white general for the North.
That's so disrespectful.
But the funniest part about, you brought up Spelman. Spelman is actually being run by Warren Buffett. Spelman's dean of business works for Coca-Cola. In the last 10 years, they have replaced all of the healthy options, juice options, water options with Coca-Cola vending machines.
Genius.
For the last years, every girl that goes to Spelman for some odd reason is graduating at 10 pounds higher than the previous class.
Yeah.
And we as Black men are angry that our women weigh more than us, or linebackers, or this or that, and we don't even pay attention how all of this happened right under our nose.
But this goes to exactly what you talked about earlier, what you guys have been talking about when you're playing chess and moving 5 moves ahead, and it wasn't Rothschild, it's Rockefeller is the name. Spelman is the name of Rockefeller's wife. You know what's funny is, and you guys, I'm gonna end it with this, but I think I talked about it on the previous stream about how these people who are running these businesses, how they really think. I'm gonna tell you from a personal business level, and I'm gonna tell you from a professional business level. I'm gonna compare the two. But one day I blew all 4 of my tires a long time ago on my car. I went to I'm not gonna say the business, I don't want to throw no names out, but I went to a popular tire spot. And the guy, I looked on the sheet because at the time I was young kid. I had to have been about 18, 19. I didn't have the money, so I had to get credit for the tires, right? So of course I'm looking at how expensive it is. I'm looking at the fees. I'm like, hold on, what's this fee right here? A destruction fee. I'm paying you $20 to destroy the tire. I said, nah, listen, I'll keep the tire myself, right? So the guy was telling me, he said, nah, it's a disposable fee. And I said, well, I can dispose of myself. I don't need to be charged to destroy the tire. So he told me, the guy pulled me to the side. He said, hey, listen, let me give you a little secret about this business. He said, they don't really destroy your tire. I said, what? What do you mean they don't destroy? He said, technically, this company owns another company that makes shingles. So what they do is they take the raw tires that they charge you to destroy, but technically take it and convert it and send it to their other company, and their other company makes shingles for roofs. Then he said they have another company on top of that, and that company actually makes turf for schools and athletic fields.
I was just about to say
that. Mulch. Turf, yep.
So I'm sitting here like, damn, how genius is that? You got one business. The raw materials from this business helps fund other business. You make 100% profit. So then not
only that, if it's a good enough tire, they sell it to the used tire shop.
And they sell it to used tire shop, right? So they're winning all across the board.
Steel radial tire, ladies and gentlemen. George Washington Carver, and Ford took the patent on it.
Yep. The game is so nasty, and that's how they play business. Let me tell you from a professional standpoint how it works. You have people who run these record labels that push rap music, the toxic music they push in our communities, right? These same companies that are running these record labels actually also work with or have businesses in the arms industry, right? So they're
don't leave out the prison system. Some of them hello.
I was about to get to it. You know, they are also investors in the prison industry as well, you guys. And these guys who are investors in the prison industry, they're also investors in food as well, food and clothing that they actually put in these prisons. You guys, so these things, when we talk about chess being played against us, you got these guys are investing in these record labels that produce these rappers, that give them the guns that they use to commit the crime, that puts them in jail, right?
And one of them is a well-known rapper that everybody likes, who initials start with the letter J.
Now, now listen, you trying to get my channel canceled, right?
There's a lot of rappers start with J.
He told you guys on the last video, the last video he came out with, you guys, he called himself J-Bo, right? He orchestrated, he animated the entire thing. He showed you he was not the one in cuffs. He was, if you guys play that video again, right? J-Bo, he animated it in black characters, right? He's in New York. He's walking up and down the streets of New York. You see him on the back. He's driving the car with the slaves on the back. He's on the boat with the Navy. He's stepping out. He's telling you guys he played us. He's telling you he played us in plain sight. He's walking past the factory and there's black people working the fields, going into the cotton factory, pushing cotton. What is he saying? His name on the top is J-Bo, like Sambo. He never called himself an Uncle Tom, you guys. He called himself J-Bo. Sambo was the traitor.
Worse than Uncle Tom.
He was, well, Uncle Tom was the hero.
Not me, but okay.
Well, the reality is he wasn't the sellout.
Right, exactly, Nate.
Jay put it out in front of everybody. He told you, listen, that's why he sat there on that counselors when he was getting therapy. He was telling the therapist about, hey, listen, I sold my people out for money.
But the key to game of chess, Nathan, is also knowing the moves that they're gonna make, but also knowing their history. So you have to know the player you're playing against. Jay-Z was a drug dealer. He rapped about selling drugs. He bragged about it. He made it a culture. So what would you expect?
Who put him up? What's the name of that music video? Who remembers the name of that video?
I know.
B9. What's the name of it?
I know what you're talking about. It's like a cartoon.
But I know
Skin is black or something.
Yes, my skin is black. What is it? Let me find it real quick for you guys.
But
no business messing with.
I ain't never heard of this one.
Oh, check this out.
You heard it.
And let me give y'all just a little history on this Sambo thing and this thing. And OG knows what I'm talking about because she's in the industry as well.
Right.
The gentleman that made all of these movies of the time was the
story of OJ. That's right. Friendsgiving guy.
Movies was one of the most educated black men of his time in America. And because black people were such hard workers, because this was the time where slavery had just ended, so we're used to working hard. We were used to putting in 18-hour days to make things happen. Right. He was the first Marlon Wayans. He was making a parody of how hard we actually were working by shucking and jiving and walking all slow.
Are you talking about Step and Fetch It?
Yes, ma'am, I am. And so he actually was one of the first black millionaire in Hollywood. He was very influential in starting Baldwin Hills.
Who are we talking about?
I don't know his name. Like I said, look up whoever Step and Fetch It, the actor was.
So y'all about to send me down a rabbit hole tonight because
they called them Step and Fetch It. That's so when we say to each other, "Oh, you step and fetching," that was the name of the dancer, but I forget his real name.
You showing your age, OG, because I ain't never heard that.
Step and fetching.
But the
I ain't never heard that. I've never heard that saying before.
Good,
but the point of the whole thing is that they switched the narrative.
Right.
14 movies and they were all successful, but when it was time to make that switch, they made him the face of everything that we are fighting against even till this day. Yes. They switched. So they've always controlled the narrative to make us heroes and sellouts. And this, you watch and see how the next generation or the generation after that treats Tyler Perry. You watch and see how they make him the face of everything that's wrong with the black community. If we're still facing the same issues that we face today. Now, do I agree with what Tyler Perry does wearing a dress? I don't agree with it right now, so no. But however, watch how they flip the script because this man accomplished so much by doing that. And they don't want the next generation to pick up on that. I can do the same thing. They're going to vilify it and they're going to make sure that they plug the gap in the dam and there will be no more leakage from that. So we're gonna have to, that's why we always have to be proactive, because we're not the only ones that are changing. They're changing and evolving and getting better and taking our knowledge. They know just as much, if not more, about the Black Panthers and SNCC and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X than we do. So they have a greater advantage on intel and data than we do. So if we think we're going to use the same old methods that worked in the 50s and the 60s, we're wasting time.
You know what I find comical? I find this comical. His name is Lincoln Perry, but you're talking about Tyler Perry, and they kind of doing the same thing. That's hilarious. But go ahead. I looked that up, and I'm reading about him right now, to my dividing, the Black community and divide Black America. And the names is kind of funny.
You never know, man. With these cult groups, boy, they're so sharp with these.
Yeah, like
numbers,
look at the Black female politicians they've been putting in place. Like starting right here in Atlanta. What was her name? Keisha Lance. All of these bum politicians, you could tell they were put in there to hold a certain spot to make people feel a certain way.
She didn't do anything.
Nothing, and quit.
The city of Atlanta.
Hey, answer me this question for my police officers here real quick. Has there ever been a Black person in charge of the fund, the retirement fund? Has there ever been a Black person in any police force that you can think of across America where a Black person actually handled the money? Because I've seen cops turn their back on their police chief. I've seen them turn their back on mayors of cities. I've seen them turn their back on all types of people except the person running the fund. Unless they steal from the fund or do something that's erroneous. But I never see anybody going against the person that's holding the purse.
You're never gonna see it, because that person's protected. That person's protected. Listen, you guys, I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna end with this though. I want everybody to watch the story of OJ and see if you can decipher the hidden messages in that. Decipher the hidden messages. I'm gonna play it on here. We'll do it on the next stream because there's another thing I want to touch on. But before I go, you guys, I just want to say thank you so much for contributing. So much wisdom, so much gems. We have our counter here and there, but the reality is we're all on the same team, right? We're different parts of the body, right? Arm, leg, head, toes, fingers, but we all here to do the same job, which is to move, So, like someone said the other day, we are all different organs in the body. We have to organize ourselves in a sense so that we can function properly. And that's just the reality of it. We need to get the cancer out of our body in order for us to do this thing properly. And there's a little cancer we got to work out, but at the end of the day, you guys, I want to thank you so much for everything. I'm going to do this part 2 tomorrow because there's another segment that I want to touch on. And I would love for you guys to come back so we can have this discussion, but please watch the story of OJ. And I want to know your thoughts.
I'm gonna watch that tonight. But Nate,
I got it pulled up right now.
Nate, Nate, don't forget to please send me Sharita's stuff because I saw her speaking in Miami. She was at that Republican thing, and she was there with Angela Stanton King.
That's right.
And I love her. I love her already. Like I gotta definitely get in touch with her. So send me her email information.
And Priest, I want to say one thing.
Go ahead, brother.
When we had the discussion, let's see if because I find it hard. I rarely hear anybody say anything great about us anymore. It's always we're the reason that we're not doing. We have positive things, so we have to speak stuff into existence. We have to give props to certain things that we are doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely,
we can love
I agree.
because we're pushing the same narrative as we've been pushed on us. So let's not become the people that we don't want to be. Let's, even if it's small little things like, hey, the little black girl, what was that last year? We won a spelling bee. You know what I'm saying? Like we still, we got to push more positivity because we talk down on ourselves a lot.
Agreed. In New Growth, that's why I did that video about Black officers and the history of Black officers in this country to say, when we talked about incentivizing, how do we incentivize our people to do the job? We got to show where we were great, where us as Black officers took pride in the job. There's too many of us brothers and sisters in this profession in law enforcement that allowed our ego to take advantage, right? To step in front of what our service and our purpose was. So we got to get back to that. So, for me, I agree with you, New Growth. And I think we all have to take that challenge to speak on the positive. The problem too is we got to make sure we can bring that out and show it to the people who need to see it, especially our youth, right? Our youth need to see the greatness in all these professions, whether it's stocks, finances, whether it's politics with OG, whether it's real estate with you, New Growth, or Millennial Mark with you with business, just entrepreneur. They need to see the people in our community who are making money, who don't look like those on television, who don't look like the athletes, who don't look like, unfortunately, the rappers and drug dealers, the ones that too many of us aspire to be, because we do a lot of great things in this country, from doctors to nurses to lawyers to entrepreneurs. We do a lot of great things, but it's not popularized. It's not popular to show those people. Again, Woman of the Year was WAP music, Meg Thee Stallion, and and your girl Cardi B talking about the dangly thing in the back of her throat, right? Wow. A lot of us don't even know the name. I don't even know the name of that part of the body, brother. That's my favorite part. You know what I mean?
That's a uvula.
Uvula. Okay, shout out to Millennial Park, biology expert right here, right? So again, we glorify the wrong people. So I think it's on us to uplift those who aren't getting noticed, in our community. And so, New Growth, if you haven't seen that video about Black officers, I did a special segment for Atlanta police officers.
I'll be checking you out on the low. You don't even know I'll be watching.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it too. It was good. I saw it. Yeah, I saw.
I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying my best, but I love y'all, man. Y'all, you guys give me pushback. I don't want you to ever think that I don't appreciate it, because it makes me better. Iron sharpens iron. And so, New Growth, your wisdom is always appreciated and needed.
Same
we
with
laugh
y'all,
and
man.
joke,
It's
but
nothing but respect. That's why you bump heads at first. You say, okay, he ain't no sucker, so I respect him. I'm going to roll with him. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when you can roll over somebody, you're a sucker.
Right.
I respect all y'all, man. Much love, man.
Same here. And same to you, B9. I appreciate you, B9. Me and B9, we like dynamic duo. Chocolate and caramel. We come at y'all. We ready.
Ren and Stimpy.
Well, all you got to do is stick a cookie between y'all and y'all good, okay?
That's how I know on some real stuff, Nathan, that we're gonna do something in real life.
Absolutely.
We gonna connect and make it, because I'm looking for doers. I'm looking for people that ain't afraid to connect and ain't afraid to put themselves out on Front Street and be smart about it. Pay attention to the thing as, so that those negative things don't repeat themselves, so we don't have to stop the momentum. Once we get going, there's always these new anti-lock brakes that they have for the Black race to make sure that we stop on the dime.
Correct.
But this time we need to pick up enough steam where we drive into any and everything.
Absolutely.
In their best interest to get ride with us.
Yes. Yep.
That's so true. We'll quickly say real talk, but we need to be about real action too. We're about real talk, but let's be about real action.
That part.
And like New Growth said, we are gonna do it. And so I agree with you, B9. I say, let's do a channel, New Growth, B9, email me, Millennial Mark and OG, email me, and let's do an episode where we highlight the greatness that we're doing in this country today. And let's talk about those who are making moves today. Let's do a show on that. I can host it on my channel or y'all's channel. It don't matter to me. But I say let's do something like that to what New Growth said. I think he's absolutely correct. Sometimes we get, and same thing with me. I'll be beating up on the officers lately, you guys. Someone sent me a message saying, "Hey, are you sure you pro police?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call it how I see it." That's part of fixing the problem, is you have to be honest, right? So I want to make sure that I make sure I'm balanced and I start giving some love to the officers, so they don't think that I'm out here trying to throw them under the bus. That's not the case. But there's a lot of things in law enforcement that we need to correct, and no one can deny that. And again, so if I'm going to bring about some reform ideas, I have to be honest with the people and say when they messed up. But every now and then you spank the child enough, you got to come back around and give them a candy, right? So New Growth is right. So let's do that, you guys. Let's reconvene on that. Shoot me an email so I can get you guys all on the same day and same time, and we can kind of do some uplifting.
Okay, I put the email in the chat, bro.
That's what's up.
Yep, you got my email, Nate. B9, I got your email.
Yep, and respect OG Patrice. I'm trying to do the same thing with the reading to the kids, so I love you for that, man. They need us.
Cool. Yeah, the little black boys. I'm telling you, they the ones that got my heart. The little black boys, they got my heart. I do overtime for them.
Much respect.
All right, that's what's up. Millennials, drop yours in the chat too. If I don't have yours, just in case, I'm adding y'all to the thing right now.
Yeah, I'm dropping it right now.
All right. And I appreciate you guys. And with that, we're gonna be I'm gonna say my last goodbyes to the chat. B Niz, I appreciate you. New Growth, I appreciate you. OG, as always.
I appreciate you too, Nate, and salute and shout out to your chat.
Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, Nate, I just dropped the email in the chat.
All right, gentlemen. Peace. Peace in the Middle East.
I know, right?
All right, peace, fellas.
All right, brother.
All right, now.
All right, Millennial, where you at, bro? I didn't see you in the chat. Millennial, this brother. I'm about to go to your page and get your thing. Millennial, I don't even see it on here. All right, where are we at? We 34 watching. All right, let me say my goodbyes. Listen, you guys, thank you so much for standing with me. We did 3 hours and 30 minutes. I told myself I'm gonna stop doing these 7 hours. I've been getting in trouble behind the scenes. People been getting on me. So how do you join? What does El Vengaza say? How do I join? Join what? Join the channel? If you want to join the channel, would love to have you on the channel. You guys, I'm gonna do another stream tomorrow. We're gonna talk about the other half of this segment. I didn't get a chance to dive into it. The conversations got so good. Everybody jumped on the stream immediately and we started having these deep talks. You know, you guys, I've learned a lot. I've learned the errors of some of my speech, and I want to do some correcting. I had some time to meditate on some things and some wisdom that was shared to me. So I want to do some corrections. Sometimes my passion can get ahead of me sometimes. And sometimes we say things and it's not as ear friendly. Sometimes we allow our passion to just kind of move us in a way. But I would say tomorrow's live stream is going to be very interesting as well. But again, I want to thank you guys so much for sticking with me. It was a great conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys took some nice gems from this conversation. Tell her you're doing important, man. Mr. So yeah, chew the meat, spit out the bones. It's true. I'm learning too, you guys. You know, I'm new to this. I agree, straight no chaser, but I don't want to lose anybody in the process either, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not, this isn't about me. I'm just a vessel, right? I'm just trying to filter some things out. Oh, okay, I see it, Gail. Thank you for Millennials. Email. I'm gonna add them on here real quick. Someone said smoke weed all day. Yeah. So anyways, I'm learning too, you guys. And so this is all new to me. And so I want to make sure I do it properly. I want to make sure I convey the right things, you know, even though I could be a little bit radical in thinking, I don't want to lose people in the process of me being so passionate. And so, and with that being said too, I could have my feelings invested too, passionate feelings in this conversations. So I appreciate you guys and your patience. We lost about 10 people after I dropped that video, but it's okay. We'll get them back. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for all your support, all your love. I really appreciate it. And with that, please stay tuned tomorrow. We'll probably do the same time, like around 6. I think that's when the majority of you guys are around and available to jump on. And he was getting lost there, huh? Yeah, please check out the story of OJ. Yeah, I think it's him telling how he sold out. Absolutely. Either how he sold out or how he was put in a position to make money off of his people. Everything leads into it. But check it out, Mr. Awesome. I'm curious to know what you think, though. We're going to bring it up tomorrow in the conversation. I'll play the video. But I absolutely think that was his confession of like, hey, you guys, I sold out. But, you know, he's coming out the Navy boat. There's slaves on the bottom of the ship. He's the only brother that's out on the deck with the Navy men. right? I mean, there's just so many gems in that video, Mr. Awesome. But check it out. Jump on the channel tomorrow. Let me know what you think. He said he had a different. Yeah. Look at it again. I didn't catch it at first, and then I had to double back. But I'm curious to know what you think. Different perspectives. So again, you guys, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it. Jump on tomorrow. Stay tuned tomorrow. I'm going to bring in some new data, that's showing you guys where we're absent at in our communities and where we need to pursue some areas, some places of power. But all right, you guys, that's it. Good night. God bless. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, thank you, moderators. I forgot to shout y'all out. Thank you so much. You guys know I love y'all. I couldn't do this without y'all because, this job's crazy. So thank you guys so much. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, all those who supported in the chat, all the super chats. Thank you so much. You guys, that goes a long way. Unfortunately, some of this content is so sensitive that it doesn't get monetized, unfortunately. So when you do donate, that is actually a big help towards the cause. So I appreciate it. And it lets me know that you guys see value in the content. All right. So anyways, that's it, you guys. Good night, and we'll talk tomorrow.